to the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, the spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you back flip. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, the spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you back flip. Select to make your first pick.
Hey, welcome back, students, faculty, collectors, digital library managers, and everyone who still remembers when buying a game meant bringing home a box, opening a manual, and putting something permanent on the shelf. As you see behind me, I've been practicing that for years. This is Gamer Quotient / Gaming Academy, and tonight class officially is back in session. Nick is out sick tonight, so he won't be here, but hey, I got everybody else here for the show. Welcome to Class 80, titled The Game Has Changed. And it sure has changed, especially over the week. Tonight, we're focusing on one major quick bite, but this is not going to be a small conversation, guys. This is a big one. We're talking about a gaming industry's continued shift towards an all-digital future and the major changes reportedly coming to PlayStation as Sony moves further away from physical games. And this is bigger than choosing between a disc and a download. This is actually going to be about ownership. It's about preservation, right? It's about collecting, lending, trading, resale, pricing, and access. Imagine all those things that are available to you with choice just because you own something physically. And what it actually means to say when we own games in our libraries. Because when you purchase a physical game, you actually have an object, right? You can hold it, right? You can hold it. You can display it. You can lend it to a friend. You can trade it in. You can resell it. You can even just toss it aside if you like. It's yours. Do whatever you want with it, right? Now, in many cases, you can still use it even after the storefront changes, right? But in a digital-only ecosystem, ownership starts to look a little bit different. Now, this game would live on an account on your PSN, your Xbox Live, right? Your Steam account, you know that. Now, licenses can change, stores can close, servers can disappear, and the word purchase may not even mean what many players think it means. You look at my latest X post about it, it's actually right in front of you. They tell you right in front of your face. We just don't like to read that. Now, but Sony is not the first company to push gaming in this direction. Back in 2020, Xbox was already building its identity around the idea that Xbox was not just a console, it was an ecosystem. You guys remember? Everything's an Xbox, right? They threw Game Pass at you, cloud gaming, PC support, cross-platform access, digital libraries were the thing, was the thing, is the thing. I don't know. And the idea that the player should be able to access Xbox from almost anywhere, from your fridge, your Samsung fridge. Now, at the time, that sounded like convenience. Tonight, we have to ask whether that convenience was also maybe perhaps a preview of what is yet to come. Was Xbox ahead of the curve? Was the guy from Ubisoft warning us that we got to get used to not owning our own games, right? Or was that a slip of the tongue? Is PlayStation now following the same road? And if both major platforms are moving towards a future built around subscriptions, accounts, streaming, and digital access, well, what happens to the player who still wants to truly own the game or their game? And that's where here we're playing with intention matters. We are not here to reject technology. We're not here to pretend physical media is perfect. We are here to understand the trade. What are we gaining? What are we giving up? Who benefits? Who loses control and who gets it? And what choices will players still have when the industry finishes changing the rules? Tonight's lesson is simple. Convenience may make gaming easier to access, but ownership determines who stays in control. So grab your notebooks, check your shelves, open your digital libraries, and let's talk about where gaming is headed next. The game has changed once again, and now it's our turn to decide how we respond. Class is officially in session. And remember to ask yourself this: what's your gamer quotient? Now, I do this, of course, with the crew here. Nick is out sick, like I said, but the rest of the crew is here. So let's go ahead and bring in the faculty. Welcome in, boys.
I love that picture.
Yeah,
that shit's dope. I got nothing else. It's like, oh, are you gonna say something plithy this week? No, that's the tightest thing I've ever seen.
10 out of 10, no notes.
There's a whole reason why. There's a whole reason why I'm like, not only is this good, it's real good. I like that I'm in the bag. Because just very recently, I said to my wife, I said, you know what my real skill set is? I said, my job is to watch your back before you know that it needs to be watched in the first place. So I'm leading up the rear.
There you go.
Sure, no crazy shit's about to happen. What is that noise back there? Like, don't worry about it. I got it.
Arguably, I did say diamond formation, and but it's more like a T,
which stands for tight.
Like,
bam! Like, oh, that's the cleanest shit I've ever seen. Oh,
all right, guys.
No,
who are you? What do you do here? And why should these people listen to us?
You go, Ace.
Of course. They always try and get the quiet guy to open his mouth. Well, here we go. So, who be I? Simple. Blazing Ace Nelson, I am your professor of applied sciences. I'm the guy that tells you how games work, why they work, and why they work with you. And in case you're wondering, I am also another very, very big proponent of owning physical media, especially of games, especially underrated and underappreciated gems that are no longer available in circulation outside of hobby shops, like this right here.
Yeah, let's go.
It's a score. I'm Oliver. I am the Dean of Students, old guy, historian, watchdog, and the handsome one on the show. I do it all. Like, no, like I'm the cute one. He said it's true. He's like, no, he's beautiful. No, but primarily here on the show, I handle the Watchdog segment where I keep an eye out for deals that I see across platforms all week long, and I am not doing that this week because I think a bigger conversation needs to be had regarding that. This is literally what my job is the watchdog. And right now I'm watching this situation unfold, and there are things that we have to say about it. And it's not, this whole situation is not in your interest. My job isn't to simp for corporations. My job is to watch out for the little guy. The friendly neighborhood watchdog. That's it. Boom. I'm like Spider-Man, but dumber. And he's pretty fucking stupid, so,
Does Spider-Man get extra intelligence with his powers, or is that just all Peter Parker?
No, it's all Pete. That's why he does the same dumb shit over and over and over again.
I just thought his stat luck was like -5 or something like that. Everything else is high.
He's got that big brain problem. His brain is so big that he can't see the smaller stuff.
Yeah, that's
That's the
facts.
score.
That's fact. All right, guys, and I am of course the headmaster here at Gaming Academy, also the creator of Gamer Quotient here. I brought these guys together because we are a force to be reckoned with in the gaming industry, and no one will tell you straight up to your face that you're wrong and we're right, and also vice versa. We'll admit that we're wrong and you guys are right too, right? Because there's much discussion to be had with our passion and our hobbies, and our main goal here and mantra at Gaming Academy is to say, hey. Remember all the times your friends and family say, "Why do you game so much? Such a waste of time." Actually, no. It's actually a great use of time because I've learned so much in gaming that I want to apply this, and I can apply this to your everyday life, in your life, love, family, career, and also just lifestyle. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. All right.
Love to see it.
Love to see it, man. I'm excited to get into the Sony debacle, but of course, if you guys have been here before, you guys love to, this is from season 1. I heard this was everyone's favorite segment, so let's just get into some gaming history here and let's just run through it so we can talk about the good stuff. So this segment here is called "This Week in Gaming History: Memory Card Chronicles." And I just realized we used a Sony intro, and that kind of made me upset. Like honestly, I was like, "Oh man, really? Why did I do that?"
Well, it's classic Sony. It's
All right, Oliver, can you tell us a little bit more about this segment and kick us off?
Yes, ma'am. You know what pisses me off? My son did that shit to me. I'm like, is that what it feels like? No. So, in Memory Card Chronicles, the panel will take the class on a trip through an entire week of gaming history. Each day of this current week features a game handpicked by one of the panelists. Together, we revisit 7 days worth of legendary releases, seismic industry shifts, personal stories, and the moments that make gaming history unforgettable. So, starting off, I want to say for July 5th is Ace. I think Ace got the lead on that one.
All right, Ace, what you got for us?
So, starting off this week, I didn't necessarily have a game that released on July 5th, so much as, one of those particular seismic industry shifts. And that was as of 76 years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah, 76 years ago. Bandai Company Limited was founded. Now, pretty much ever since day one, Bandai has had their finger on the pulse of pop culture in Japan and abroad. And I mean, we're talking everything from action figures to video games, brand partnerships. They've done it all. But this week in particular, I wanted to shout out Bandai because, we all know them as part of the, as one half of the, dynamic duo known as Bandai Namco. And they've been responsible for some of my favorite games in recent years, including, of course, the God Eater series, Gundam Breaker, especially 3 and 4, and the game that I just recently finished, although I still need to go back and finish the first one. Shocker, I know. But Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion, a fantastic mech game. There is a little bit of equipment management in there, so Oliver, it's a little bit of Armored Core, but still plenty of action and a good deal more, story and world building and narrations, narration afterwards. So it might be up your alley if you're looking for something
mildly interested. A little interested, like I'm wiggling in my seat. I'm thinking about it.
And also, you can dual wield weapons. You can dual wield gauntlets, which
isn't it weird?
More like fist-mounted pile bunkers.
Like dual wielding is like really tricky to implement in games. Like you notice how there's like not really like a consensus way of doing dual wielding just across video games if it's offered. Like it's always this kind of weird kind of sometimes it's really nice and smooth, or other times it's like this weird clunky thing where you're just kind of like, I'm just gonna leave that where I found it, right? Like, no, it's just I was just thinking about that recently. I'm like,
Well,
we don't have that pinned down all the way.
well, I'll just put it like this: your left arm and right arm weapons are mapped to the triggers,
Yeah.
and you can basically swap between them using the left and right D-pad. You can have up to 4 weapons total that you can swap between, and again, dual wield, except
Okay.
for certain larger weapons which are two-handers.
Okay.
But yeah, it's good stuff. It's definitely something to take a look at. You can definitely try out the demo, which is another thing about which is another facet of gaming that is very much needed these days. Demos.
Oh, yes. God, yes.
I wonder if they'll take those away too.
Right. But
Right?
yeah,
Can't get a demo, can't get a sample, can't get a taste. You're like, man, this is bullshit.
and it's going to get to the point where we can't even hold it in our hands anymore. But that's the story for later. But Bandai Namco, 76 years. Hopefully they can keep the ship right.
So that's 1950, folks. Just for the folks. Oh, that is 1950. Why? Because my aunt just celebrated her 75th birthday 2 days ago, and she's literally born in 51. So it's like, yeah, no, like just imagine that. Bandai coming around.
So wait, that means your aunt was born exactly a year after Bandai Namco was founded.
Yep.
They were
younger than video games.
They were formed like at the latter end of World War II.
Mhm.
Is that right? Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird to think about? Like, the more you think about it, it's like, damn, that was a crazy ass war. They're like, let's make a company.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, you know what? Let's make a video game company. Like,
Well,
what are video games? Don't worry, you'll find out.
Think about it this way. It's the same reason why Blitzball exists in Final Fantasy X. You need something to take your mind off of the absolute dumpster fire that is dealing with sin.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Every day.
It's
All
rough
right,
out
Ace,
there in the streets.
You still got the next one. What do you got?
Oh yeah, got the next one too. So the following day, but let's kick it up a couple of decades and jump into the magical year of 1997. And in arcades, we were introduced to the game known as Beasterizer,
That's such
AKA
a cooler name.
Bloody Roar.
Got beasterized.
Now, this bad boy, I didn't get the chance to really sit down and play it until until it released on the PlayStation in March of '98. Still one of my favorite discs to own to this day, and I know I've got it somewhere in storage. But man, Bloody Roar was such a unique.
There you go.
Hold up. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
But Bloody Roar was such a unique concept because, up until this point, I had seen my fair share of 3D fighters between Soul Edge, aka Soul Blade, Tekken, Virtua Fighter, hell, even Street Fighter EX. But when I came across Bloody Roar, it was just such a dramatically different take for me on 3D fighting. The controls were simple. The characters pretty stylish for the time, but also the mechanics of not just, stringing your combos together, but also expanding your movesets when you activate your beast transformations. I mean, it was like so much more of the game opened up between how your characters move around the arena, the destructible walls and the ring outs, and of course the music, especially for the console version, was just like I still listen to the opening title theme, Defenders of Legacy. I pumped that in the truck on the way to work along with a couple other
That's
tracks.
what's up.
Yeah.
All right, there's
What's crazy about Bloody Roar? How many games were there? Like 7?
let's see. There's Bloody Roar 2, Bloody Roar 3, and Bloody Roar Primal Fury, and Bloody Roar 4. Now, Extreme on the Xbox was a port of Bloody Roar Primal Fury.
Okay, so what's that? 6? 5?
Five.
Okay, there's 5 games made for Bloody Roar, but yet there's no one picking it up to like update it. You know, like it's not like it was only one hit wonder. There was 5 games. Who owns it right now?
I think, yeah, Konami owns the IP.
Oh, that explains a lot. Never mind.
Yeah.
That explains a lot. Oh well,
Yeah.
I bet you they have a pachinko machine about with this. So
Don't you dare. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
You know damn well they do.
that's
Oh, that
where their
shit makes
games go
me
to
mad.
die. That's where they. All right. Well, awesome. Thank you. Next one here, we got 7th. Oliver, we got yourself classic, super classic.
This is really fun for me. Just because I was just recently talking about this. Like, in case people haven't figured out, I talk to my wife a lot about video games and video game history and just why design things go the way that they are. The best part is I'm here. I'm Kyle Reese. But Metal Gear is no, well, you know what? Let me just go ahead and lead off with that. In case people didn't know, yes, the original Metal Gear cover is a redraw of Kyle Reese from Terminator.
Facts.
That's actually what happens because Kojima really is deeply influenced by Western media. So why I think that this is so worth pointing out, one, it literally kicks off this guy's career, right? It kicks off Hideo Kojima's career. I think that it's one of the most important video games ever made, simply because Kojima was willing to and dared to ask, what if there's another way? What if instead of every game is about the player engaging, what if I just design the game where not engaging the enemy is the goal? Right? And to think about that within the context of the time. I mean, from playing things like Galaga, Galaxian, Centipede, right? Space Invaders. God, what else is in between, classic arcade and Metal Gear? Pac-Man, right? We could go on forever. But so many games before that point were about, here's you, whatever representative you, and the representative of your opposing force, and it was always some direct interaction. Isn't it bizarre that Metal Gear is about, if you're playing Metal Gear right, no one fucking knows you were there in the first place. Your job is to be a damn ghost. Do not alert enemies. Do not get into open combat. Well, can you win open combat? Yes, but the odds are stacked against you, and never unfairly so. It's fair to say that Kojima gave birth to not just a whole genre, but a whole different way of thinking about how people approached game design. Games were very, very simplistic back in the day. Technology, right? That's just a technology thing. We just didn't have the room to explore bigger ideas. And obviously we do now. But in that time, this is incredibly creative thinking with that OG Metal Gear, even with a sloppy translation. But so much of it, like just the idea of stealth, don't be seen, right? And then, within, years later, Metal Gear Solid comes around on the original PlayStation, and he's evolved these ideas even further. Oh, hey, by the way, now guards have cones of vision. Now you need to think about your footprints and whether you ran through water or not, or if you ran through snow or not, and whether or not you are leaving breadcrumbs that something is happening around you. One of the best things that has always happened to me in Metal Gear is, at the end of the game, and when all's said and done, getting a rating based on whether or not you were even noticed at all, right? Or to put it another way, it's like Futurama, where I can't remember the name of the episode, but Bender gets lost out into space and he basically meets God, right? And it's just a talking star cluster that's like, oh, whatever. And he's like, oh, I was God for a minute. He's like, I kind of fucked everything up. And he's and the God cluster of stars goes, Bender, if you're doing things right, it seems like you're not doing anything at all, right? And Metal Gear is like that. If you're doing things right, no one noticed that you were ever there in the first place, right? And Kojima has just continued to evolve that idea over and over, literally over decades, just to pause and think about it, right? Just like, whoa, damn near 40 years ago. And we're still going and finding new ways to work on that mechanic. So, just as a straight up thank you for making people think outside the box, we need more people who think outside of that box to just go, what if we do this? What happens? Right? And it really forced us to think in different and amazing creative ways. And it just echoes across the industry. It's one of the all-time greats. It's a game. let me get mad. Let me get pre-mad for everybody. I wish I had the fucking
Here
hat.
we go.
It belongs in a museum. It's the most Indiana Jones ass game of all time. It actually belongs in a museum because it changed this creative medium forever.
Yeah.
So
No,
love to see it.
I agree with that 100%. Imagine being that guy that Kojima pitched it to. Kojima's like, your character is gonna be avoiding everybody. You're not gonna be killing a lot of people, and then you can't be discovered by, the bad guys. And the whatever, the guy that's spending the money is like, that sounds boring. Like, that sucks, like, especially in the 80s, because juxtaposed to Contra, right? Keep that in mind. They made Contra also, which is the opposite. Engage, right? So it's kind of crazy that
one
they made
tiny, super tiny micro story, just tied into Metal Gear here. I'm gonna bring this up a couple of times across this episode tonight, just because there were little moments that happened. But this weekend, I went to the local hobby shop, right, and they have just a plethora of old game consoles and hardware. I mean, we're talking some real shit. I saw a fucking 3DO there, right? Ooh. I was like, yo, it was crazy. And I saw a copy of one of the most maligned games ever made. Snake's Revenge. Complete in box. Ask me how much that shit was.
$13.
$170 goddamn dollars. I was like, oh, and I was like, I need it. I think I'm the only guy on earth that likes Snake's Revenge. Like, now I'm not sure if you can pull that up, but just so people can see that cover. But basically, here's the crash course. It was the first time Konami fucked up, right? Mm-hmm. When it came to Metal Gear. So Metal Gear came out. They were like, this is stupid. It's not going to work. That's actually pretty much how it was. Game went over very well. Kojima was just kind of off doing other stuff. And Konami was like, well, we gotta have a follow-up to that shit, right? We gotta have a follow-up. So Konami made a sequel to Metal Gear without him called Snake's Revenge. And the story goes, I think Kojima was on a train or he was on a bus or something, and someone's like, I played that sequel to Metal Gear. I played Snake's Revenge. It's not really good. And he's like, the fuck are you talking about? And he was like, what? And so he finds out, he's like, what is this horse shit? Right? And now Snake is based off of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm not kidding. Right? He's stacked. He's just gun show. And you're like, huh. Oh, and Big Boss is a robot for some reason. A big purple fucking robot.
It's not canon, chat.
It's not canon at all.
It's not canon.
But it is because of Snake's Revenge that Metal Gear 2 even happened. Because he was like, fuck all that. If you're going to do a sequel, do it right. And so he was like, nope, I'm going to get back to work on that. Right? And that's where Metal Gear 2 comes into fruition. And the fact that Kojima basically spearheaded damn near every Metal Gear game after that, because he was like, don't fuck my shit up, man. Like,
you kind of have to, though. I feel like the same way in movies, right? Like, yeah, like when somebody else directs your movie that you're famous for, and they make a sequel of it, you're not directing it, people are gonna have the same expectation from the previous movie, and they're like, what is this trash? Nothing like the old one.
That's why there's only one Pacific Rim.
There you go. And Atlantic Rim does not exist. All right.
What does that mean?
Or I even get more upset because Atlantic Rim is like it's happening on the other side, and it's like a straight to DVD, like not sequel. It's so bad. It's so terrible.
Wait, really?
You know, yeah, look it up, chat.
Oh,
Atlantic
Wait,
Rim.
what?
It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
no.
Atlantic Rim.
Oh, he's serious. I'm looking at it horrified. I was like, this is a bootleg fucking Pacific Rim.
I'm like Terry Crews and Everybody Hates Chris. You think I'm playing?
Oh my god.
It's
I
real.
didn't know. What the
It's
hell?
real, chat.
Oh.
All right. Here's what also it's real. Vandal Hearts 2. This was my pick for 7-8. It was a sequel to Vandal Hearts. My first PlayStation game when I first bought the console. It plays very similar to Final Fantasy Tactics. I would say now in modern days, you would say if this is Final Fantasy Tactics if you bought it on Temu, basically, right? So here's some fun facts about Vandal Hearts 2. One, both sides moved at the same time. It's actually quite unusual for a dual turn system because it has you select an action while the enemy simultaneously moves one of its units. So that's really weird. You can also predict an attack and dodge it or completely whiff because your target walked away. That's pretty wild. No wonder there's not a 3.
Yeah.
2, yeah, your equipment is basically your character class. Now, characters are not permanently locked into jobs like warrior, mage, or healer. Weapons teach abilities, while armor affects stats such as health, magic, defense, and movement. So a little bit different. 3, the story follows Joshua from childhood into adulthood. So instead of beginning with an established hero, the game shows Joshua's early life before throwing his adult self into a complicated civil war filled with competing factions and political manipulation. Like I said, if you were to buy Final Fantasy Tactics on Temu. Now, your dialogue choices can change the ending, which is pretty sweet. Several decisions made during the story influence which conclusion you receive. The game has 4 substantially different endings, plus variations related to those outcomes. Very, very few games during this time in 1999 had this like kind of like Dragon Age, choose your dialogue option to dictate what ending you got. So this was pretty cool during that time. And last, it was developed by a different Konami team than many players assume. Vandal Hearts 2 was developed by Konami Computer Entertainment Nagoya, right? And its soundtrack was composed by Hiroshi Tamawari, who also worked on the original Vandal Hearts. So it's kind of like a weird amalgamation of like, the original composer did the music, but the team that made the game is totally different than the first game. So just like what we talked about, guys, like how, if the new director is creating the second game, it's not going to be like the first game. So very, very, very interesting how that pattern exists. So that's Vandal Hearts 2.
I still just like the fact that the last few days of this week that we covered were pretty much nothing but Konami.
It was their month. This is for the 9th. This is not a Konami game. This is Once Human. Have you guys ever heard of Once Human?
Heard of it, but
okay. So it's actually a survival action game. It's third-person shooter. It's just like The Division, but add base building to it with a little bit of like Eldritch twist, right? So this came out in 2024. Among other games that came out was Dota 2 on the PC in 2013, and also Ephemeral Fantasia on the PS2 came out in 2001. I wanted to add that on there because when I was working at the local game store, I actually packed and shipped that game, Ephemeral Fantasia, to Game Grumps because they ordered it from us. So it was really cool. But yeah, Once Human in 2024, it's basically an MMO, right? It mixes several genres into one package. Once Human is a free-to-play third-person open-world survival game that blends base building, resource gathering, looter-shooter combat, MMO-style multiplayer, and supernatural horror. It launched on PC July 9th, 2024. Free to play. I wanted to check it out. I was playing it with my girlfriend at the time, and we had a pretty good time. The division with Eldritch Horror was really interesting, right? They added what they called a sanity meter, directly affects your health. Spending too much time around supernatural contamination lowers your character's sanity. As it drops, part of your maximum health becomes unavailable until you recover by resting or consuming proper resources. So that's what made it a little bit different. Now, the mobs in the game were bizarre creatures that can become also your helpers. Not every supernatural entity is an enemy. Players can capture friendly creatures called deviants, which can assist in combat, gather resources, or perform jobs around the player base. I think they stole that from the survivalists. Honestly, that feels like very similar to that.
Mhm.
It's seasonal resets do not erase absolutely everything, so that's pretty nice. Servers operate through time scenarios that eventually conclude, but players retain important progress through Eternal Land, which is a personal island where selected items, equipment, deviants, and unlocked building options can be preserved between scenarios. So at least they gave you a space, literally an island, to keep all the stuff you gathered if you can't take them with you in the current season. Diablo does that, but they call it the Eternal Realm, where you can keep all your stuff from the seasonal items into
Yeah.
that realm. Yeah, it's pretty nice. They didn't have to do it, but they did it, which is cool. And last of all, players can reshape the survival rules themselves. Official custom servers allow hosts to modify features such as weather, day and night cycles, experience rates, resource spawn times, building requirements, and whether experience emphasizes PvE or PvP. That means the same game can become either a relaxed building sandbox or a punishing survival challenge like Ark. So that's kind of funny because in that Stop Killing Games litigation, they're talking about how private servers are like, against TOS now because of Minecraft. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
That's just garbage.
Yep, it's very much, very much so. Ooh, I like this one. All right, Oliver, you got the 10th.
I'm looking at this game.
Yes.
No, I still want to talk about Once
Okay,
more.
let's do it.
I've been looking at the Steam page. I'm like, oh, I think that's neat.
Absolutely.
It kind of actually just looking at it preview wise, I'm like, well, it kind of seems like kind of Control, but with friends, right? It's
Yeah.
oh, here's weird shit, shoot it. The moon's
Yep.
haunted, click clack. And you're like, oh, okay, that's just what we're doing. But yeah, no, it's exactly as you described. There's some base building, there's some looter shooter, like you can see all of it, and it is oddly not difficult for a system to run. So maybe everyone should just kind of consider taking a propaganda at that
Yeah.
one, right? Like as you said, it's free to play.
My 10-year-old system handled it pretty well on like not the highest, but like
Yeah.
medium high settings. So not bad.
And even at the highest, at the recommended, the specs are really respectable. It's
Yeah.
like a Core i7 7700, like that's pretty old. 16 gig of RAM and a GTX 1060. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay. No, I thought that
So
was really
my
neat.
old card could run it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just really eyeball that one for a hot second. So thank you for pointing that game out, because that's
For sure.
cool.
And like I said, I play with my girlfriend, so it's good to like just hang out and shoot stuff, build stuff together. Just if they're into that kind of stuff, and she's into that. She was more into the building aspect of the game and the horror aspect, and I was into the more like let me go hunt and shoot stuff. Very old man, caveman style. So
Yeah,
caveman
Unga
brain. Yeah, caveman brain. So.
No, it's neat. A little bit of don't starve in there, right, with the sanity stuff. So I'm like,
Yep.
well, you got my attention, right? So let's jump over here to the 10th. There's actually two games, but one I know, and the other one I have no clue what the hell it is, but I thought it was funny. So we're gonna start with the one that I do know, and it's a classic. It's a bona fide certified classic. Final
Mhm.
Fantasy Chronicles is not actually a game, but instead a compilation of two games, as you can see on the screen here. So it's actually a re-release of Final Fantasy IV, right, and Chrono Trigger. Now, at this point in history, what was the release date on that? 2001?
2001. Yep.
2001. Correct me if I'm wrong, boss. I believe this is the first time in history that we finally started to get Final Fantasy games numbered in the correct order.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
never minding 7,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
I mean, just like, oh, they're going back and going, okay, so you guys are all confused, and actually Final Fantasy 3 is 6, and you're like, what the hell is going on? So
Yep.
they
So-
started to acknowledge that.
So they actually went and dropped Final Fantasy Anthology first, which is 5 and 6. And
There you
then,
go.
after that took off like gangbusters, they're like, okay, you know what? We want to make sure we get Final Fantasy 4 out there, but we don't have anything else that we could actually, kick out with that, because they had already released Final Fantasy 3 on the DS, right?
I think so.
Yep, they had already released Final Fantasy 3 on the DS at that point. And the only game that hadn't released up to that point, up till 7, was 4. So it's
Well,
like,
didn't they also do Origins 1 and 2, right?
yeah.
Final Fantasy Origins, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and that's
So there we go.
right about the same time.
Yeah.
I think they all came out in the same year because they were
Yeah.
going, "Let's get it together."
Oh,
right?
yeah. It was good stuff.
And one of the significant things about this release is that now this one I know for sure. This was the first time that we had gotten Chrono Trigger off the Super Nintendo, and unlike Final Fantasy IV, which is I'm not digging on Final Fantasy IV. What I'm saying is that Chrono Trigger had a lot bigger changes come down the line compared to Final Fantasy IV. They had, Akira Toriyama actually do, or at least worked with them to do entire brand new cutscenes that did not exist on the Super Nintendo, like in any capacity, right? So there's, an actual opening, an anime opening. I believe at least one more ending showed up. Am I correct in that?
Yep, there was an additional
Post credits,
ending that
right?
was added.
It was the
Yeah.
post credits ending.
Yeah, there's another ending that gets added, of course, and of course I know Ace knows all about the amazing cutscene of Frog splitting the mountain.
Dude.
Brother.
That's immune, like
Yeah.
get you all choked up. Oh, you're like, go get that motherfucker. You're like, wait a minute, it's more complicated than that. You're like, oh, this is hard. You're like, you can kill Magus or not. You're like, damn. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll kill you this time, and then I'll come back around, and then you can live.
Right.
But no, it's a big release. But the thing that is absolutely mars this release of Chrono Trigger is the load times, because they are
Atrocious.
They are atrocious, and they occur, and there's a notable gap between you get into a fight and then the fight actually starts. It's like a 5-second load time every time you run into an enemy encounter.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh wait, we have a transition screen. It's like, oh, you actually ran into someone. It goes, right, and then everyone just kind of stops for a second, and then, oh wait, yeah, we're supposed to fight. Chrono pulls out that big ass katana. You're like, this is awkward, but I appreciate the work you did.
Yeah, because like you're walking around the map with music, you get an encounter, the music stops. And you're like, what's happened? Now game break, then it loads again, and it's awful.
And it's every damn fight. It's every fight. Once you're in stuff, though, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the load times, just they didn't work there. And I think most people more or less consider the definitive version of Chrono Trigger to be the release on the Nintendo DS, which helps to bridge the gap between, truly creates a bridge between Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, because those threads are pretty thin, and they actually added a whole new, ultimate boss in that version. But still, this is I still consider all this right here goated. Like, no, I remember buying this in the store, and I was just so excited to come back and revisit Chrono Trigger. Right, just being a little bit older than what I was when I first played it, and come back as a grown up and really playing it and just really soaking it in. To as far as I'm concerned, just like Metal Gear, Chrono Trigger is our Back to the Future. Like, that's it. Like, it's one of the most structurally perfect games that I've ever seen, and it is a beautiful execution. Right, even with little weird things or bugs, but just like Metal Gear, it really rewards outside the box thinking out of the player, such as, there are some very special chests that you can't open, right, until you get a particular pendant, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go open this box, and it's up to you, the player, to realize, wait a minute, if this box persists across time, so what if I go and open that box in different time periods? What happens? And the contents of chests can change if you go to the right chest at the right time and figure out whether you need to open in the present or in the future or in the past. But then once it's opened across all time periods. So if you open it in the future, because it's basically it's space-time all contained in one spot. So if you open it in the future, it's opened in the past, even though that shouldn't be the case. But, temporal fuckery. Like, you're like, this is great. It's just great. And it's an all-time classic. And this is coming from a guy that just doesn't care for Akira Toriyama's designs, but his designs are literally classic Like, I can't imagine any of that cast looking differently because it's just so masterfully executed. He died a few years ago, so rest in peace. Like, everyone has some kind of connection to the guy, but this was the game that made me have any kind of connection to him at all. So, great game, great fucking release. Fix your load times, and also re-release Chrono Trigger, you goof asses. It's free money. Put it on the Switch.
I was about to say, they re-released it on Steam. It didn't quite work out so well.
It belongs in a handheld. It's that kind of game, in my opinion. Also, I'd like to add on that because everybody on this panel loves Chrono Trigger, right? No doubt. It literally is the best story and the best game feel, game everything, storytelling, music for a kid. Like, it's like, because they're kids in the game. Like, it makes you want to go on an adventure, and like. It reminded me, honestly, playing it reminded me of like Never Ending Story, like when I was a kid, and I was like, "This is like an adventure of a lifetime," and I can't just sit here. The call to adventure is calling me, and I gotta go, and I'm bringing my friends with me. Like this game made me feel that, which is giving me like goosebumps right now. Pretty awesome. So,
yeah. Good morning, Chrono. Woo!
Pretty good,
man. We're gonna fuck around, talk about Chrono Trigger. I'm gonna have feelings and shit, but
I put it away.
You doing that shit like, dog? You crying? No, there's snot running out of my nose. No,
we'll change it up to this.
Change it up. I have no clue what the fuck this game is, but I was just checking the release date history, and I thought it was funny. I was like, "What the fuck is Booby Kids?"
Looking at this artwork, like, what kind of game do you think this is? Like, I see a T-Rex, like Tyson, like ninjas and a tank. Like, is it like a platformer? Is it a shooter? Like, what do you think it is?
This shit is all over the place. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I'm intrigued.
Also,
you got me with a goofy name. So here's the description. The game is set in a prehistoric environment complete with cavemen and dinosaurs. You play as a little boy who has to collect treasure without being killed by those ferocious creatures. The only thing you can do to immobilize the enemies is setting a trap right before they approach you. This gives you an opportunity to gain some valuable time. The enemies will pop out of the traps a few seconds later. The game is divided into levels with increasing difficulty. At each level, your goal is to collect all the treasure before you can proceed. You die on enemy contact. So,
it's Big Doug.
Right? It's
kind of, yeah.
It's Big Doug.
I'll share it.
So it basically, really, the name of the game should be Booby Trap Kids, as in you trick them into walking into traps. Like, oh, okay. But
that makes a little bit more sense.
Right?
So.
But it's so weird.
Oh,
It's almost like Bomberman, but higher in concept.
Guys, do you know what this game reminds me of? Do you guys remember
Survival?
I'll give you guys one. Dragon Power.
Wow, why'd you say that? Why would you say that?
Because it does look like it.
Why would you say this? Like, don't bring that up. Never mention Dragon Power.
Yeah, like you go.
Which is the earliest, as far as I know, the earliest exposure that we had to Dragon Ball.
We didn't even know. We honestly did not even know because the box art was not anything close to Dragon Ball. I don't remember that guy. Dragon Power.
I do remember this game. I did actually play this, but it had no context at the time. But yeah, it's like
no context. It was so bad from what I remember.
Yeah, it's an actual dumpster fire. Like, don't. Yeah, see that? You see that? Yeah, no, you out there stealing draws and shit.
There you go. Oh, it's Master Roshi. What the heck?
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's like, yes.
I think I need
underwear. Yes.
I think I need to replay this.
Supreme comfort in a pair of underwear. Yes, I remember Oolong's wish.
Okay, give me a sandwich, Dave. That's what he said. All right, here, the last on the 11th. This is a good one.
Last year on the 11th. It's hello, it's me again. This just for a random fact, the Super Mario Advance series always pissed me off because they did this shit. Right? Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3, the sequel, The Reckoning. I'm like, what the hell are y'all doing with this naming scheme?
It's crazy.
Like,
what is the Final Fantasy?
Because Super Mario Advance was... What game was it? it wasn't a separate game, but oh my,
No, it was like it was rebundled. It was rebundled games. Like 2 was like 3 or something like that. Like it was just like
yeah,
a weird
yeah. It's
amalgamation.
Super Mario Brothers 2 and the classic original Mario Brothers. Like that's it. That's all Super Mario Advance is. Like, huh. So then it gets fucking weird. I'm trying to find it now for Super Mario Advance 2.
By the way, like if you're looking for like to me the best experience aside from the classic originals, these are like technically remastered for that time, and they look great. And they feel great. And if you guys are looking to play a Mario game without having to go to like current gen systems,
Let me tell you something about the Super Mario Advance, just that first one. Um, the remake of Super Mario Brothers 2 in there will absolutely beat your ass. Okay, like don't don't play that shit if you want to feel okay as a grown up. Because I was like, yeah, I played Super Mario Brothers 2 when I was a kid. I don't know why I'm talking like Mike Tyson right now.
Yeah.
I played Super Mario 2. I played it. I was pretty good at it. But you played that remake, and I don't know what the fuck they did to the difficulty. I was getting blown out of the water. I was like,
oh, you know
what the
what?
hell?
They may have given us the because it wasn't like don't they tone down the games for the US during this time?
Mm-hmm.
Like Donkey Kong Country was easier in America than it was in
Yep.
Japan, so that could have been it.
So basically, I just wanted to highlight Super Mario Brothers 3. It's
I like Jagos.
once again, it's such a huge influence on all of us on game design, right? Mario's adventures just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger at this point, right? Let's see, the release date is 1990. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just had it. Where'd it go? Yep. No, 2003.
No, I
Oh,
mean
for
the original
the
Super Mario 3.
And the original Mario 3, yeah, that was 90.
1990. When did the Wizard come out?
Damn. You even bring that up. Like, listen, Fred Savage is trying to forget, and you're not letting him.
No, never. Take that with you.
But Super Mario Brothers 3 is such again another very important game in game history. As I said, games are very slowly starting to creep towards generalized social acceptance. Um, Obviously, at this point in time, it was Mario's biggest adventure yet. Going through each world, there were so many different ways that you complete it. You didn't have to even clear the whole map. You needed real, true, different working strategies to deal with each of the Koopa kids along the way.
Mhm.
God, Super Mario Brothers 3, just in the context of its time, is tough, right? It's kind of a tough game. And even as you're going along and you're getting the letters from Princess Peach and she's handing out boons, you're like, it's like Dark Souls for Italians. The fucking sun chases you, for Christ's sakes. You're just out in the desert and there's not enough SPF to deal with this situation, right? You're jumping behind the scenes, like breaking fourth wall. I'm just saying, it is genuinely a good game, enough that it broke Bob Chipman. It just messed that dude up. He's like, oh my God, the entire game's a play. We're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
he
I
hasn't
actually didn't
been
even
the
know
same
that till like a few years
since.
ago,
Yeah.
which is
And
crazy.
us slipping into the background. So it's such a huge thing. You're like, why? You're like, okay, but wait, why is it that he's got a raccoon? He's flying. It's like, you know what? And we all said, stop asking questions. It's tight, man. We can fly. You can fucking fly. That's awesome. And it just kind of gets out of control. And then, you're playing and you find out about Tanuki and you're like, oh, what's a Tanuki? And then, like, next thing you know, you're looking at a raccoon with big nuts. And it just kind of all fucking spirals out of control. You're like, I don't even understand Japan anymore. You just give up
Yeah.
and you just accept it. You're like, yeah, guy's just sitting on his balls resting. You're like, what the fuck is this? There's so many cool things that happen in Super Mario Brothers 3. And even though I'm not a huge Mario fan, video games don't work without Mario. He's every man, he's every kid, he's every person who is ever afraid to do something and goes out and does it anyway. Mario's a fucking icon, and when Shigeru Miyamoto dies, a part of Mario will go with him. And I do mean that with all sincerity.
Yeah.
It's like if Steven Spielberg, when he passes away, part of ET goes with him. Part of Indiana Jones goes with him. Like things that we can't get back. It's James Earl Jones, right? It's when he left, part of Darth Vader left with him. So it's a really big deal. And I just, even though I hate these advanced games, I love that they made and took the time to re-release them for a new generation of people, which is kind of the topic of this damn show this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
sir.
pretty much going to cover Memory Card Chronicles for this week. So we're going to take a quick break so that Ace can do the thing that he loves to do more than anything else in the world.
Shameless self-promotion.
Yeah. Well, Ace, I made a special one for you, but first.
And a quick note before we actually get into everything. Earlier this week, after Sony's announcement, I decided I'd go through and re-download all the stuff that I had on the PlayStation Store on my PS3, which included the game that very track came from, Hardcore Uprising.
Wow.
Yeah, hopefully we get that game out of
Brother.
that void. I made two variants to show you, to show everybody on this panel and also chat. But this will be our first image for the night.
Oh.
This image goes hard.
So, y'all see that right there? In case you need any more evidence, that is the energy we're on. One Gamer Quotient warrior in the front, standing tall, rocking the merch. A whole army of profit-chasing investors coming rushing in, talking about ROI over fun, monetize everything, and user acquisition only. And that's exactly why Gamer Quotient merch exists. This isn't just clothing. It's a statement. It's for the players who still believe games should be about fun, about passion, community, and intention. It's for people who know that not everything needs to be turned into a spreadsheet. When you throw on Gamer Quotient gear, you're repping the side of gaming that still matters. The players, the culture, the love of the game. So whether you're picking up a tee, picking up a hoodie, stickers, or more, suit up and let people know where you stand. Because around here, we're not fighting for quarterly reports. We're fighting to put quarters on the cabinet. We're fighting for gaming. It's Gamer Quotient, baby. Play with intention. Grab your merch at the usual spot, gamerquotient-shop.fourthwall.com. And even as you try those on, remember to keep asking yourself that important question. What's your Gamer Quotient?
Well said. Well said. Here's the other image.
All right, let's do the other one. Where's that?
It's uploading right now.
Brother.
It is a revolution. We're taking over Wall Street. We're fighting everybody in Times Square. The Gamer Quotient army is there.
I'm trying to figure out why they're both peeing at each other really hard. It's like, why?
It's the friction.
Why are we making pea swords here? Straight up the middle. It's like, oh, what in the name of The Force Awakens is this? Like,
no, it's Schwartz.
I know it's Sparks, but from like, I don't have my reading glasses on.
It just goes to show, like, kind of where we're at right now and this whole madness. Like, why are we even having this like duel with these guys? Like, it should be cyclical, right? But instead, we're clashing now. It makes no sense. It's like it needs to get overcorrected, right? It's balance must be restored. With that said, let's go into our quick bites. Nick is not here, but I'll introduce the segment tonight because, man, it is a doozy. Sorry. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. And then we'll see you hopefully next week. So, yeah, tonight, guys, we are covering the madness that has occurred over the week, and man, it has been kind of all over the place. So, I want to hear everybody chatting it up there in the chat, and I'm gonna just throw it out there, guys. So Sony declared war on gamers this week, guys. And on physical media, and everyone's been talking about it. I want to just drop in 3 bulleted points, and I want to discuss the whole thing. Number one, yes, Sony has said that by 2028 they're going to go full digital, no physical anymore. They even repurpose all their factories now. They're committing to the bit, right? Matter of fact, their stock increased by 3% upon when they announced it during that time. Now, here's the funny part. According to quiverquant.com, it is a stock kind of like follower website. It's hard to explain, but Sony CEO sells shares after digital only announcement. Which is odd, right? If you think about it. Hiroki Totoki, the president of CEO of Sony, sold 225,000 shares of the company on 7/3/2026, an estimated value of $4.7 million. So, if this was just a good choice, why is the CEO of Sony selling his share of stock? Is it just a coincidence? Is there something we don't know about yet? Right. So that's something that we can kind of discuss also. And last, I found this out recently, like 30 minutes before the show, and it may just be a coincidence, but people are canceling their PSN accounts, PSN Plus accounts, in order to kind of show protest to this whole thing. And Sony right now is actually giving them up to 50% discount on to not leave. Or to not cancel their PSN service. Now, it's not confirmed whether if this is due to the digital only craze or it's just something they do for people that are trying to leave in general. That hasn't been confirmed, but the timing is very, very coincidental per se. So I'll leave it up to you guys, and I'll just chime in on a bunch of stuff I kind of put on my notes here. Who wants to start?
I can. Give Ace a break from talking first. It's stressed him out a great deal, so I'm gonna do you a solid. I think that I probably have one of the more complex opinions on this subject. The one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to yell about it. You're right, like everyone's fucking screaming back and forth. And I don't think that's actually helpful, and it's not productive. I don't think it's helpful for anybody. Right? I think everyone has a point to make here, but I know where I stand. I know where I stand on it. But I really have historically just liked Sony products. Right? They fit into my life, but this one is just it's a bridge too far. It's really funny that Sony literally built their company on media that people can own. Right? If you go back in time, for some of you guys who are much, much, much younger, you didn't live through the the wars like VHS versus Betamax, which Betamax was Sony, right? And they actually lost that fight. But I'm from the generation where the Walkman first came out, and how that was a huge deal, having a personal cassette player, right? That was the smartphone of its time. It was that level of crazy to be able to have your music and take it with you wherever you wanted to go, right? Was just absolutely bonkers to people conceptually, right? In such a small form factor. And then to go forward in time, and them taking over with things like DVD and mini disc and things like memory sticks and all that. I mean, people don't understand how pervasive Sony truly is. If you have a smartphone and it's from on the higher end range, right? Like not like a super cheap, smartphone, but something, like an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy or things like that. There's a damn good chance that you have Sony built components inside of it, because that's how big Sony is. Like they talk about, Sony is huge on photography. Right. And so more often than not, when people go, oh, I've got this phone and it's got all this crazy sensor in there. It's like, yeah, Sony built that sensor. Like, really? Like, yeah. Like these guys set a lot of standards. So to watch them throw away those standards is really bizarre to me. I'm like, this is your throne. Don't give that up because then you have nothing to differentiate yourself from the competition, right? That means if you move to all digital, now you need to provide an all digital value. And God, we all know that Sony's online infrastructure has just never been as matured and considered and thought out compared to PC or even the Xbox. Even I don't even like Xbox, and I can straight up say, like, no, Xbox Live is more thought out overall. Sony has constantly changed how PlayStation Network, PlayStation Plus, all that stuff works over and over and over again because they've never nailed it correctly. Like, no. Whereas Xbox Live has got a nice consistency over the course of generations. My big take is that one, Sony is wrong. Like, all these things can be true all at the same time. Sony is incorrect in the move that they're taking. Game preservation fucking matters. And three, there are people who don't give a shit, and they are completely in the right too. And they go, I don't care, I only buy things digitally. Yeah, they can do that. That's their prerogative, right? But for people to think that you can only have one way or the other, it's like, well, here's the way, right? For people who want to buy things physically, they sure can. And the people that don't care about buying things physically, you can do exactly what you're doing. And it's funny because I've been thinking about this all week. I actually came up with what I believe is a great halfway compromise solution to the whole problem. But I'm going to let the other guys talk first so that I can hold on to that and leave everyone in suspense. But I think I have a solution to the problem. But the reason I have the argument that I have is that if people go and check my X account, I just put up my argument. Just yesterday, I went to a local game and hobby shop that's been around forever and a day. I was able to go into that store and grab a copy of the original Super Mario Brothers for the NES. And I brought that home, and I got out the top-loading NES for my son, set up a teeny little TV, a nice little 10-inch screen, and I dropped the NES right there, plugged Super Mario Brothers in, turned the power on, and I walked away. And in under a day, he's sitting there. I'm watching him learn everything that I ever learned about video games. I'm watching him learn it in real time. A game that came out in 1985. My son and I are sharing an experience over 40 years ago, right? That's mind-blowing. That's bonkers. That cartridge came out then. That came out 40 years ago, and it still works the way it did when it first came out of its wrap, right? And if people don't see the value in that, I don't know if you understand the scope and the scale of this situation. Video games will never be taken seriously as an art form if you treat it like a disposable good. No other creative medium does this, right? The last time some shit like this happened, they realized that, oh, this is actually an issue and we need to start preserving shit. Disney got the damn Disney Vault, for crying out loud. they take that stuff, they tuck it away, but at least they're holding on to it. And they're going, oh, we got to make sure that we don't lose our history, right? It's kind of bonkers to me that you can just go out and get a copy of Dumbo. And that's like a century old. But video games treat themselves as disposable, right? Comics don't treat themselves as disposable. And that's literally just like long-running serials. You can go back and everyone knows the very first issue of Superman. What's it called?
Action
Anybody.
Comics?
Action Comics #1 is the very first issue of Superman. The first time Superman shows up, right? It's one of the most rarest pieces of art in the world. It is so ungodly expensive that it's just like, oh, that actually costs kidney money, right? Books. You can go to a used bookstore. And for whatever reason, these other industries, if you'll notice, these other creative mediums, they don't get attitudes over the used market for their content. I'm just saying, don't you think it's weird? We had Blockbuster Video, right? You can go to a fucking library, right, and you can just check out a game. Like, you can do that. Like, these days, you can check out games and books and movies and things like that.
Mhm.
You know, the record store used to be a big thing. They brought back vinyl, for Christ's sake. So why are video games as an industry? Why are you so opposed to people enjoying your content across time? They're never going to take you seriously if you're not taking you seriously, right? If you want to be taken as a serious industry, you want to be treated seriously as artists, you need to treat your content as art instead of disposable playthings for children. You're never going to beat this stereotype until you stop acting like it. That's the score.
Well said. Well said. You know, I kind of had an epiphany, and this is my conspiracy theory brain working overtime. Sony won the arms race for the media.
Yep.
Blu-ray,
Yep.
right, over HD DVD. And if since they won that, what other format can they put the disc on? Blu-ray, right? So, but like, here's the thing: they own it, so they literally control, and it's really what the big all caps here is control. They want to control everything, right? Because I'm thinking, like, in the future, maybe they go all digital, right? Because they want to save money, whatever. Then they go, but Xbox goes, well, we want to print games. Can they print games? They don't own Blu-ray. Will they get charged more because they're not printing discs anymore? Like, that's something that I started thinking about down the road, because maybe I'll do a giant Genesis to Microsoft now, since I collect mostly PlayStation games. You'll see me with more Xbox games now, because if they want to do still print, I'll get it through them, right? So that's a question that's been yet to be kind of asked and answered. But honestly, like, I watch a lot of videos on this over the week. I had like an extra 2 days off after the holiday, and Legendary Drops made a video about it. It's all about investors. It's all about like how we fucked up so bad. This is Sony saying this is not Sony saying this, but this is basically what they're saying. We fucked up so bad, and all the bad decisions we made and all the calls we made back in 2020, probably before that, of going live service, digital, right, etc., etc. Now they're probably in the red so hard that they have to overcorrect, on their policies, on everything, that their next few decisions. Otherwise, they'll not get any more investors, and that's probably a nightmare for them, right? So I think this is the reaction to that. Of course, we're the outsider looking in. We're not in there. We're not reading the books. We're not looking at what they massively failed at. They made a bad call on Bungie. That's another problem for them, right? So they made a lot of bad decisions over the course of 4 years, probably more, right? Concord, oh my God. Like, these guys are like, if I was a CEO, I'd be like, man, someone needs to die. like these are terrible decisions, guys. Who did these? What happened here?
That's what I said. I'm like, so you're making everyone else pay for your $500 million fuck up.
Exactly.
I didn't do that. I didn't greenlight that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I literally said to myself, who asked for this stuff? Who asked for Marathon? Who asked for this, right? Who asked for Concord? We didn't really ask for this stuff. They thought they wanted to give it to us. But we this is why I say, this is why we speak so loud with how we, with our wallets. Literally, we're saying, no, we don't want that, and now we're paying the price for it. It's just crazy. Now, here's the thing. Don't get scared because of what I said just there. Keep going. In my opinion, keep going the way you want to play games, and because, one, you're not really changing yourself for the course of for the industry. You're just being you and whatever you like, and that's super important in this whole scenario. And two, it's just like they're going, oh well, they have no ammunition to be like, oh, it's just a phase, they'll get over it. No, because if that's how you are and that's how you act, right, it's not going to change, and they're going to have to be forced to be like, all right, I guess they don't want that, so we got to do it. And they won't really do this until they see the numbers. Like, unfortunately, that's how they read us, guys. They could give a lick about what we post on social media, how angry we are, right? But if their books say we're in the red, we need to change things now, That's how they're going to be able to change. It's not going to happen overnight. Matter of fact, we got here. It took 4 years, probably less than that or more, right? I don't know. But to correct it, it might take another 4 years or more.
Yeah.
Who knows? So, Ace, you have the floor, man.
So just over the course of the last few days, as this whole situation has been unfolding, there have been a couple of things that, I mean, yes, as much as I've wanted to shout and just, let my fists fly, I've really had to, I really feel like I wouldn't have, really done the discussion or done myself any sort of justice if I had flown off the handle. I literally had to put myself in a, 2014 Gamergate mindset. And here's what I mean. There are certain topics, there are certain facets to this discussion, to that decision, that need to be emphasized, not just in order to drive home the overall point, but also to make sure that folks outside of the enthusiasts that normally wouldn't give a rip about how they purchase or how they access their games, when they see everything that's going on and they see the boycotts and everything, they go, this is what's going on here. This isn't just about, physical media going away. This is about people having the choice as far as how they purchase their media. People having the choice as far as, where they want to go to get the best value for their purchase. Because it's not just, the removal of physical copies, the removal of physical discs starting in 28, but there's also the implementation of the dynamic pricing too.
Oh my God, stop. Yeah, that's crazy. I think right now the World Cup is implementing that, right?
Excuse me?
Dynamic pricing. Yeah, so some people are paying $20,000 for tickets. Some people are paying $200 for tickets. It's kind of wild, So like value then is just erased if that's the case. There is no value to it. It's whatever, right? It's whatever. So that's it makes no sense. But
if cost is malleable, then value is non-existent.
It's
Yeah.
I mean, it is a business at the end of the day. I get where they're coming from, and they have made some poor decisions, and they gotta recover. Unfortunately, these decisions are at the cost of at our expense, 100% our expense, which is where their base literally.
The savings are never passed down to the consumer. It's the cost, right, that's passed down.
But I will argue, and I posted this in the Discord though, if we're talking about acting with your wallet and voting with your wallet, unfortunately they don't have the same boots on the ground community like we do. Like they're in their ivory towers, man. These investors, they're going, does GTA 6 make money? Does Sony make money? And people go, yeah, okay, let's put like 10% of my my financial investment into that account. They don't care about the industry. They just hear this from advisors or whatever, right? They don't know the gritty details. Because I will say this, guys, when I posted this on Discord, right? I said that like 135K people or something like that signed the keep physical petition to Sony, right? But yet 11.5 million people pre-ordered the digital copy of the game. So if I was Sony or whatever, I read that report and I go, okay, 11.5 million people on the low end, by the way. It's up to 15 if we get it on the high end. And I see a petition saying, "Oh, bring back physical games." I'd be like, "Well, there's 11 million people pre-ordering digital, but there's only 151 on this petition." Now, that's unfair because they're two different things, right? In my opinion, but that's exactly what I'm trying to say. They don't care because the numbers show it, right? And so to them, they go, "Yeah, those 151,000 people in that petition. They're just the crazy ones." Right? It's clearly evidence here that people don't care about physical because they're pre-ordering the digital copy. Here's what sucks. There was no option for real physical. Even the physical is a downloadable code, right? Which is like, I feel like they were trying to like test the waters with this decision, right? And this game is the thing to test it to, right? And they go, and they look at the numbers, they go, oh yeah, then there's no point in making disc if we're going to sell it like hotcakes anyway. right? We have the market. We own the companies that print these discs. What are they going to do? Get another company to make Blu-ray discs? No, we own all that stuff, right? So it's typical Sony arrogance. They did this also with like the PS2, right? And after the PS2, sorry, because remember, PS2 annihilated Xbox. Even in Japan, they conquered the
Oh, yeah.
Xbox in Japan. But when the PS3 360 came out, it flipped. The 360 was way more popular than PS3, even more budget friendly, right? It even had, but Sony won the arms race when it came to the media, the disc that it's going to be printed on, right? Due to the large capacity of these games. And then PS4, they did the whole campaign with this is how you trade on PS4, right? And I go, you guys are the same company that are literally doing the opposite of what you guys did here. So here's what I'm saying. They don't care about you. They care about the money, right? Because they did that back then because they know Xbox was being them now, right? And now it's swapped. So now since they're on top, they're acting crazy. Now I wouldn't put it past you for Xbox to be like, you want a physical game, you can get it through Xbox. And if Asha Sherman was smart, they would capitalize on that right now, right?
They'd be beating their ass in the Bluetooths. You know what I mean? They'd be like, "Oh, my time is now."
It's like remember 2013. Remember 2013?
Yeah. No,
this is how you exchange games.
Oh, I thought he was going to say.
They,
I thought he was going to go, this is how we
Exactly.
do it. I was about to go, oh my God.
Xbox's social media manager should be having the time of their life right now.
Right?
You know? I haven't seen
Cooking up
anything
some-
from them, unfortunately. They're not innocent either. They're
Nope.
forced to make some really bad calls right now because of their decision back in 2020, right? So they're not alone. It's like a competition who could
It's a
be
race
worse,
to the bottom.
right? Right. And right now here, I'll add this because I was really curious about Xbox because they're technically I'm more of a PlayStation person, but I'm really curious about what their decision making here at Xbox. So a lot of this I feel came around in 2020 when we're all stuck at home, right? So I asked all these resources here, and basically asked AI, and it kind of gave me all like these different viewpoints, right? What was the 2020 core strategy for Xbox in 2020? Because they wanted that campaign, everything's an Xbox, right?
Mhm.
The Series X was positioned as the premium, powerful console, while the cheaper, all-digital Series S lowered the cost of entering the ecosystem. That's the first pass of that. Number two, they wanted to make Game Pass the center of attention. That's right there telling you they wanted to go digital, right? And access all these games everywhere. Which, by the way, great value when it first came out, and I was like, this is awesome. Even I was like impressed about it, right? They wanted to let people play Xbox games all across the board, right? It includes Xboxes, PCs, Android phones that through cloud streaming, right? Cross-save, cross-buy through Xbox Play Anywhere. So that was their thing. So that was their plan for the next 4 years. And they actually wanted to make generational transition a little bit easier from Xbox One to the Series X and S, right? Extensive backward compatibility, right? They were trying to serve you guys up or us up with all these features of like, hey, it's okay to go digital only. Small steps, never big ones, because that causes panic, just like this, right? Now, here's the thing. They were trying to become the service, the library, the account, and the community that could, and not merely just the console. Hence, Xbox, everything is an Xbox, right? So this is what they emphasized on their plan for the next 4 years. Game Pass subscriptions, first-party games available on console and PC, cloud gaming, caps, by the way, all caps, backward compatibility, affordable hardware options, and a unified Xbox identity across devices, right? Here's the gamble. We're going to buy all these studios to make games for this Game Pass, right? So matter of fact, because since they're on Game Pass, there's no reason for people to buy them anywhere else except on an Xbox, right? That was, I think, their plan back in the day. This is why right now all these studios are getting laid off, because they made the gamble and we gambled wrong. It did not go what we thought we would go. So now we got to lay all these people off that we bought, acquired, and hired, because now we're going to go back to the old plan, right? To like maybe go focus on our first party games and like, make sure the games are good instead of like trying to make Xbox on everything, just like emphasizing the
Right.
console. And I think with Project Helix, that's what they're trying to do. But I wouldn't put it past them to kind of sneak in more digital only stuff, right? Because that's where we're going. So I will say this: right now, Microsoft is in a prime position to take the lead, but it's going to be a hard one on the arms race because technically the PS5 won this generation, right? Because of the PS4 was so good, right? Because ultimately it was that let me share this game with you on PS4 that made them win. They need to win on this bad move that they're on. We're working on Sony right now. They need to come out hard on be like, this is how you trade on Xbox, or this is whatever. This is how your physical collection looks like, whatever, right? But right now they're kind of going, yeah, we kind of have to lay off like 1,400 people because we bought all of them during COVID and we expected all these great things, and now we're not doing that. So I'm sorry, right? So it's rough for everybody, not just for us. And I wish Nick was here because this affects him a very deep cut. He's got friends in the industry as well, right? But these are higher up people with a vision that we didn't agree with, right? And now we're literally doing a hard reset. Matter of fact, one could argue the industry is inflated and we're going back to pre-2020 in the ways things should be. Games shouldn't cost this much to make, right? Unfortunately, AI is here and it's making things more expensive, right? But at the same time, I don't agree with games being like $100 million to make when we were able to make these games cheaper back in the 360 era. Because I don't think games are that much different. They're cleaner looking, right? But they all kind of play the same.
And
honestly.
and again, I have to bring up games like Balatro, like Vault Pit, like Expedition 33. We're talking hell, Absalom is another great example. We're talking games, middle market games are effectively bringing out the quality that AAA used to up to this point.
Yep.
At pre-2020 AAA cost.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I see evidence of the change, meaning that they're trying to go back and leave live service, right? Because if you look at the last game show, Summer Games Fest, there wasn't really a lot of live service games to be featured.
Right.
They were all like single player, right? So they're finally going, oh yeah, we messed up, but now we have to correct, So that's the kind of like the pieces I'm putting together here. The thing about physical, one guy was on the internet saying he made a good point about this, saying that like, hey, I can buy a God of War Ragnarok on the PSN store for $15 or $69.99. It's not on sale, right? Then he goes to the Walmart page, and they're selling it for like $29.99 physical. And he goes, "This is why physical is also important because it gives me an option to buy it at a lower price somewhere else, and I'm not forced to pay for this just here and only here, right?" So on the show, guys, chat, we like to talk about how you can maximize your dollar, especially during this time, and having physical games is a big part of it, right? And this is one of the reasons why it's super important. All right, I'll add more to that later.
Would you like to hear something fun?
Mm-hmm.
Shoot.
So this is a fun one. Hey, Big Balls, can you blow me up just so people can actually see this? So I actually wanted to make it a point to emphasize exactly what you were saying. It should not cost this much to make games. Yes, we do know that you have to deal with things like paying your staff and technological costs and R&D and all this other stuff. But I want to hold up a certified banger. This is also one of the games that I picked up because I had to have it because it's such an important part of my childhood. I am holding right here in box Wizards and Warriors 2 for the NES. Now, what's fun for the people that don't know, on the cover of Wizards and Warriors 2 is one of the most well-known male models in history, Fabio. Why is he there? Who fucking cares? He just agreed to do it. But here's the really important thing about this game. You know how many people worked on this absolute banger of a sequel? Oh, it must have been 300, 400, 500 people. No. 4. 4 motherfuckers worked on this game. That was it. That is it. The entire staff of the game is 4 people, and they're pulling double duty. Each of them are, right? Like, there's something incredible to be had in that moment. To look back in time, to look back on these things. James and I have talked about this game before on a previous episode. We're like, oh no, one of the greatest games ever made. Rescue the Embassy Mission.
Needs more flowers, to be honest.
Right?
Give it more
We know
flowers.
about that damn Jumbo. He's always fucking up. There's always a fuck up on the team, and it's goddamn Jumbo. Kemco is actually pretty cool. You're like, wait a minute, that guy, you can count on him. He's reliable. But, I'm not going to go into every single teeny tiny thing, but here's what's important. What I'm holding right here in my hands is a stack of my childhood from 40 years ago, right? And I'll just read the list of the games we're looking at. Legacy of the Wizard, absolute banger. Blastomaster, absolute banger. Bionic Commando, absolute banger. The Legend of Zelda, banger. The bootleg version of Gauntlet from Tengen, certified banger. RC Pro-Am, Light Force from Konami, Strider, Double Dribble, Tecmo Bowl. The bottom two even more important because I fucking hate sports. Double Dribble and Tecmo Bowl are some of the best games ever made. Oh no. Everybody that came up, Bo fucking Jackson. If Bo Jackson has the ball, it's your ass. You're just losing. Okay? Someone is going to take that ball and run your ass all the way around the field and run that clock out. Right? Oh my God. And here's the thing, the magic. It's right here. This is the argument. This is my childhood, and I can literally take this and hand it to my son and say, go have fun. You can't do that when these digital storefronts, you have no clue how long they're going to last. In the very same breath, Sony's like, oh yeah, by the way, we're shutting down the PS3 store and we're shutting down the Vita store.
Right.
These things will come to an end because it's no longer worth it to them to keep it open. So it's only a question of a matter of time of how long do you truly have full digital access to those things, right? They just ended up, culling 500 movies that they had sold to people, and they go, oh, it doesn't matter if you paid for it or not. Like, even if we're not selling
no refunds.
They're like, tough shit, right? And we warned about this stuff. We warned about this 20 years ago. We're like, that's really fun. That's great and convenient. However, for long-term planning, it's a bad idea. And I just want people younger than me to think. Just consider. If you're thinking about, you're like, you know what? I want to have a family and I want to have kids. I want to be able to share parts of my life that I experienced with you so you can actually see that. Well, you're not going to be able to do that. It's just ass up. Like, that's it. You can't. You won't be able to share it, right? Or you're going to have to go to extraordinary lengths to do so. Whereas for me, it was easy enough as to just walk into a store, buy it, even 40 years after it's out of print, and go, oh, I would like to hold this. And like I said, I handed it to my son, and he's been playing Super Mario Brothers all day today, right? I'm like, wow, that's just kind of fucking amazing. You're not going to be able to do those things. What's really funny is Ace knows how much I love Red Dead Redemption 2 and how much I hate the first game, right? But the joke here is this. Between Rockstar pulling their bullshit and going, oh, this could be $80 and we're going to print a box. It's like, that is the most wasteful shit I've ever heard of in my life. Like, just don't even bother. Don't half-ass it. Like, use your whole ass or no ass at all, right? Like, either we're going to put a fucking disc in here or we're not, right? But because of Rockstar's antics and then because of Sony's antics, I looked at this, I was like, turns out I don't fucking own Red Dead 2 physical. I said, I'll rectify that right now, right? And I took my ass out, I found a copy of it for $20 on PS4. I was like, I'll be having that. Bloop, drop that in there, and now it's in the collection because that's yet another experience. To be able to sit down and go, hey boy, I want you to check this out. Here's this cowboy game. Like, no, this is a really big deal to me. I really enjoy this. I want to share that with you. To be able to share See, people think about sharing in the moment, but we need to think about the sharing across time. How can you get people to give a fuck about the past if you are hell bent on destroying it? Right? Why should they care about you now when you don't care about you now? Right? I'm certain that most no, let me correct my phrasing here. I'm certain that many developers actually care about this stuff the same way that we do, but they feel like their hands are tied, right? And it's people up above them making everyone else pay for this shit. I don't think a guy who sits down and spends 5-6 years of his life trying to make a game for it to not be enjoyed by as many people as possible for as long a time as possible. It's just very hard for me to believe, right? That there's someone who's like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, no, you pour a whole bunch of your life into this and to be able to go, hey, generations from now, 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, someone can sit down and play this just as it was, right? And find that enjoyment instead of having to go all sneaky beaky, fucking Pirate Bay and shit and doing emulators and stuff like that. It's like, what if we just let it be? What if I just go, here's Bionic Commando. Take that, put that in there, go have fun, enjoy that. Like, no, it's so much being missed, I think, by proponents on all different positions. And for me, it's a case of I need people to chill the fuck out and just take the time to understand each other. Because I get where the digital only people are coming from. They don't care. And you're not going to make an argument that's going to make them care. But you need to understand why people like me do fucking care. And I just explained it. I'm going, I can just literally hand this physical thing to my son, right? Because this game, everyone's going, oh, why do you care? Why do you care? What's the big deal? Well, there's more to this copy of Strider than just the game itself. The materials, the hardware, there's decisions that are made. There's a PCB in here. This is literally a time capsule of engineering for its time as well, right? It's, hey, so they designed this in a really specific way, and here's why they did, right? It doesn't mean it's efficient or inefficient. That's not the discussion that we're having here. It's just a lot of different efforts came into play to make this work in the first place. And that's kind of magical in itself. All I'm saying is video games need to decide if they want to be able to go on Antiques Roadshow or not. Like, do you want your shit up there or not? Okay, then quit dicking around. But if you treat it, like I said, as just a consumable good and nothing more, that's exactly how you're going to get fucking treated. And it's going to be bad. It's going to be ugly. Like, we're just in a really weird, funky ass spot where I think it's funny that Microsoft spent all this time fucking up. We didn't make you buy Activision. You did that. Like, you're like, oh, we got to lay people off and stuff like that. I'm like, or you could just sell Activision and lay no one off. Like, you spent $69 billion trying to get Activision. Like, foolishly, you did all this overspending up high. Don't punish the people down here.
Foolish,
right? These guys down here are getting fucked over because you were stupid up top. Like, no, true leadership starts from on top, right? This is why there's so much respect. Even after Satoru Iwata passed away, it's like when Nintendo was fucking up, he was like, nope, I'm taking a pay cut. No one's getting fired. We made the final calls. We made the decisions. So we're the ones that are going to deal with the consequences first. That's
Professor
fucking respectable. Yeah.
You mentioned Satoru Iwata. You mentioned Nintendo. In the midst of all the absolute buffoonery that's going on with Microsoft and Sony, guess what Nintendo's doing recently?
Pushing out more physical games that aren't game key cards.
Giving their employees a 10% raise.
Damn! They're like, hey, man.
I mean,
fired, homie.
They're killing it right now. They're actually the only ones not in the target of bad media at the moment. I mean, the only thing I can think of is like their games cost too much because of the medium that they chose.
Yeah.
Right. Also, but no one's escaping that because everyone's raising their prices. Right. It's not just them. Right. So it's not a good argument to have, but they've been doing pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
in my opinion,
in the middle of Sony being Sony and Microsoft literally laying off over 1,000 of their employees, like Xbox laying off over 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Some studios getting axed by half, if not, being completely let go and going independent, like Double Fine and Compulsion.
Yeah.
You've
Like,
got Nintendo literally paying their people more.
Literally, not like
it's culture, right? Because like what Oliver said, the CEO takes responsibility for the action, so they will cut their own wage to show that they apologize for the bad situation. Here they go, oh, that sucks, I guess we'll fire people down below me. That's how the culture is different. I guarantee you, if we follow the same culture here, if it was law that CEOs would get their pay cut if their bad decisions affected them, they'd be like, okay, well, let's think about this for a second. Like that's exactly what would happen. It would be like, all right, well, let's not be too hasty. Is this a good idea? Right? Because they have all these golden parachutes and they could care less about
because we can simplify it and make it look this way. We can just bring it all down to this, and you're gonna go, well, that's fucked up. But at the end of the day, you just fired a whole bunch of people and they lost their jobs because they did what you told them to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, I feel so bad for devs where they're like, the publishers are like, we need like 80 ways to monetize this game. They're like, oh man, that's gonna make the game bad. And they go, but just do it. And they're like, oh no, there's gotta be a better way, and they're forced to do it. Right? Like I'm ready for all the stories from all the devs saying like, oh, we were forced to do this, because they got nothing to lose anymore. Right? Except of course getting another job, because now they can't probably sign NDAs and all that stuff, right? Honestly, but for the ones that go rogue, I'm looking forward to those stories, because that's the context we need, right? To be like, man, we need to lay off these devs. They were just doing what they were told. Like they're just doing a job, right? And they were and like what Oliver said, they don't want to make a game that sucks. They want to be part of a game that's good. Right, but they don't have the authority to make those decisions. They're just forced to be like, well, if you're not going to do it, you're fired. Like, oh, okay,
right?
Right now you don't want to be fired. Right now you do not want to be fired. That's
I mean, and this is what happened with Konami. I mean, and Kojima and all that, right? Like they're climbing in his ass over Metal Gear Solid 5, and then eventually they just fucking got rid of him, and now he's free to create on his own and do things different, right? Like whether or not you like Death Stranding or dislike Death Stranding, here's one thing that is certifiably true. You know of Death Stranding because nobody would shut the fuck up about it, right? Whether you liked it or hated it, people were talking about it, right? And even Kojima has commented on this shit. He's like, no, this is a really bad idea. Don't do that. Right? Like, you've got the auteur, right? You've got the guy. We just talked about him. He has commented on this stuff. And he's like, nope, losing those physical components of games is a really bad idea. And even then, like, have we talked about Boktai on here before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. About the sensor with the sun.
Right.
Yeah.
This is just for the people that don't know. Kojima has done more things than Metal Gear. He actually was involved in a game series. I think there's 2 games that came out on the Game Boy Color, or was it the Advance?
Advance. It was way more colored than I remember.
No.
The sun is in your hand.
Yep, the sun is in your hand. The sun is in your hand.
Game Boy Advance.
So here's the score with the game, you guys. The cartridge was in and of itself an integral part of the game. So basically, I'll just simplify it. You're a kid with a big fucking gun that kills vampires. You're like, all right, that's sick. But you kill those vampires with a solar gun. Also fucking cool. Oh, where do you get ammo from it? You need to expose the cartridge to actual fucking sunlight in order to charge the solar gun. So you need to go play the game outside. It's like, word? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There you go. It's like, that's an original fucking idea. Of course, there are ways around that and all that, but that's that real outside of the box thinking. And he could not have executed on that premise or that idea without that physical component of the game. Kojima loves breaking that fourth fucking wall between the player and the player's avatar in the game itself. We just got done talking about Metal Gear Solid. If
I see
you're
you
not
like
paying attention,
Castlevania.
if you're not paying attention, there's a critical piece of information on the jewel case for Metal Gear Solid. There's literally the codec the fucking number that you need to call to make the game go forward on the jewel case for it. He likes to bring you into the game because Kojima knows that you are a part of that experience. He just knows. And if you play Death Stranding and you keep trying to look at Norman Reedus' dick, he's gonna punch you in the face. That's not a joke. That's a thing that happens. He'll punch you in your face. Stop looking at my dick. Leave it alone. Right? But he's always pulling us into those experiences. So when I look at him saying it and him having commentary on it, it really makes me fucking concerned. Even more concerned than I was before. No one is saying do away with digital. I think is kind of the joke here. No one's saying no digital ever, but we are definitely saying, hey, you need to make sure there's some physical. Limited run games is about to start sweeping the fuck up is what's going to happen, right? They're going, ooh, yeah, man, we're about to make some money.
Oh yeah, and it's funny because they're kind of like in trouble for a little bit, but now it's opportunity for them, 100% opportunity. I'll say one last thing because we have two other segments to go to here. One of the things that a lot of people will be missing out on because of the digital only that you cannot access anymore is actually pretty close to what we've been talking about. It's a little demo called PT that you can never ever play because it was digital only. And it was one of the best talked about demos when it was out during its time. Boy, it like the world joined together to figure out how to play this game and how to beat the demo. And guess who directed it?
Hideo
Kojima. So that's what I'm saying. So if you weren't alive during that time, and this goes exactly with what Oliver's saying, you weren't there in that moment, you missed out.
Yep.
Because they decided to keep it digital only available in the store. There's no disc for it. If you erased it from your PlayStation, you could never get it back. So I think if you've played PT, you know exactly how you should feel about this moment, right? Because future generations will not be able to access that game unless you have a console that has that game installed. And you better pray that nothing happens to that hard drive of that console because you can never, ever download it ever again.
I'm looking at PS4s right now on eBay at like $700 just because they have that demo installed. A fucking demo. Like,
free.
A damn demo. Right? And people are able to charge. So the joke here is this. Everything that Sony is doing is about to backfire on them. So PS4 games are suddenly going to get really valuable. PS3 games are going to get viable. Every single thing that you did prior is going to become very valuable. I know you're talking about moving forward, but just as part of this generalized news, Sony is having to limit one per household on disk drives for the PS5 because, turns out there was a mad fucking rush to make sure that you have one. Right? And it's like, wait, you said there's no demand. Oh, gee. Now you have to tell people they can only get one. What's the big deal? You said nobody fucking cared. It's like, just read the room, okay? Now, I had an idea on that this kind of shit was even going to happen in the first place, which is why I bought a backup disk drive the second that they became available. I'm talking when they first introduced them. So not only do I have the one I'm currently using, I have one sitting in a box, and that shit is about to, appreciate in value.
Quite the
It's fucking gonna. So the joke is, go out and buy physical. Anything you like, and I've told people this for years. If I like a game, I'll go and spend something, spend 10, 12, 14, fucking $15 on a digital game every now and again. I might do a full price game when I can't be asked to go to the store. But when I really like a game, I don't buy it once. I buy it twice. Right? Because I want to make sure that I have it. And yes, I do enjoy that convenience just like everyone else. It's like, yeah, you know what? I don't have to go dig shit out and blah, blah, blah. But I still like looking at what I have. And I like being able to look into my past and go, oh man, wow, here's a fun one. Here's a crazy one. I have games that just go all the way back to, again, 30 plus years ago. I just pulled out that stack of NES games, but some of these games I've literally owned that long. Like Ace saw when I was streaming the other night, I busted out the original Revelations Persona, right? This very copy I got when I was 14 years old. And I busted out the original RPG Maker for PlayStation. Like, it's literally in mint condition. It's just, pulling these things out and being able to give someone something physical, something tangible, right? Do not let your industry be destroyed by fucking carelessness. And the last thing, and I'll shut up. I talked about the lack of treating this industry seriously. As a serious artistic medium could end up walking into a pitfall that you don't want to go down. We talked about how the source code on my stream, we talked about how the developers lost the source code to Diablo 1 and 2 like ages ago at Blizzard. And this was a few years back, but they wanted to rebuild Diablo inside Diablo 3. Remember that Return to Tristram event? Well, here's how they did it. They said that, and the Blizzard devs that worked on this, they openly said this. They said, if it was not for fan wikis, we wouldn't have been able to even fucking pull this off, because we literally don't have the numbers. But the fans are so meticulous about keeping track of every detail and every bit of information that was how they were able to rebuild it in the first place. So it's an actual collaborative effort. We are a part of this industry, not just the people who make it, but the people who play it and look at it, and we turn it around and we teach developers things about their games.
It's like we appreciate the stuff they make.
Who knew? But we don't want the industry to go down that road of the film metropolis, right? Which is, one of the earliest, not the first, but one of the earliest science fiction movies ever made. And to this day, they're still trying to rebuild it because of sloppy, editing and, quality control and archiving, right? Like every couple of years or so, someone finds one more piece of this early silent film, right? And they're able to go, wait, okay, based on these notes, here's how they're spliced together. We're having to do fucking like archaeology on some shit from over a century ago, right? Just because people didn't think ahead a little bit. So, and that's what all I want people to consider. Stop thinking about how you feel in the moment. Consider how you might feel 10 years from now, right? Consider how you're going to feel 15 years now. Now, I know that can be a hard thing to conceptualize, but it's not that fucking hard for me, just because I've got my son and I'm looking at him playing at 5 years old. And then I have to go, oh, wow, he'd be 15 years old and he's going to have so many questions about everything that happened. A decade from now, we're going to be way deep into the 2030s. Right? It's going to be a whole different thing, and things that we're taking for granted now won't be there tomorrow. They just won't. So we need to have a bigger conversation about what this industry even fucking means and if it's worth preserving. And right now, just from where I'm standing, just where I'm looking, the ESA doesn't give a fuck about tomorrow. I don't like it. I don't think anyone that likes collecting games or just building memories and going, I would like to hold on to that as a keepsake, right? It's just, here's a way to know me. I think that we know who's on your side and who's not.
And the ESA most definitely is fucking not.
They sure aren't. They sure aren't. So, be careful out there, kids, and go spend your money where you enjoy it. Go buy that fucking copy of that game you've been putting off on. Buy a second one. Give it to a friend, right? Just be like, this is something I really like, right? And even if you don't care about it, hold on to it, right? Someday. All I'm saying is, I've said this story a couple of times in like the recent week or so, but I was like, Pete Davidson, I can't remember, I think he was on Jimmy Fallon, and like he was like Jimmy Fallon was like, so like what hobbies are you into lately or whatever, and Pete Davidson was like, I collect VHS tapes, and the audience started laughing at him, and he was like, they don't make those anymore, right? And he's like, so he spends his time hunting for VHS tapes, and I can't remember what movie it was. It might have been Jaws, but he was like, no, I think I just sold like a sealed in box copy of Jaws for like $45,000, and suddenly the audience shuts the fuck up. They're like, what? He's like, no, these things are really valuable now. Like, it's now a lost medium. Like, the same shit's about to happen to video games, and Sony, of all people, is the one shoehorning it into existence. But I will think it's really, really, really funny if suddenly Nintendo is back on the top of the pile because, oh, okay, so the next Xbox is not going is going all digital, and the next PlayStation is going all digital. All right, we're all on the same page. But Nintendo is just starting with their current hardware. So you're telling me that they're the only fucking game manufacturer that's going to actively have a retail presence? Seriously? Like, you can't go into... You're not going to buy an Xbox game. It's like, oh, you're about to fuck your shit up and just let Nintendo have it. There going to be Yoshis and Super Marios fucking everywhere at Walmart. It's going to be crazy. They're going to have the whole video game section to themselves because you just don't want to do it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll have a
bastards.
final thought closer for the end. But no, I just thought that was a
I like it. That was good. All right, Ace, tell the people what we're all about when we say playing with intention here at Gamer
You
Quotient.
got it. So, playing with intention is, well, playing with intention actually is pretty simple when you really break it down. Because it begins with one simple question. Why am I pressing start in the first place? Not every gaming session needs to be about finishing a game. Not every night needs to be about winning. Not every hour needs to be optimized, productive, or impressive. You don't need a highlight reel. You don't need to clip every single second that you're on the system. But every session should mean something to you. Maybe you're playing for the challenge. Maybe you're in it to improve. Maybe you're there for the story, the world, the music, or the feeling of discovering something new. Maybe you're playing with friends because life's been busy and gaming is the place where you can still meet. Or maybe you're returning to a comfort game because you've had a hard day and need somewhere familiar to breathe. Those are all valid reasons to play. Playing with intention is not about turning your hobby into homework. It's about understanding what you need from the hobby before you give it your time. So with that said, you start with your why. You ask yourself what kind of experience you want today. And then you choose one focus. Maybe your goal is to finish one chapter, learn one combo, complete one quest, win 3 matches, explore one new area, or simply enjoy 30 quiet minutes without worrying about progress. But small wins still do count. Playing with intention also means playing by feel, not by FOMO. You don't have to buy every new release. You don't have to finish every new game you start. You don't have to keep playing something just because everyone else says it's important. GTA 6. The biggest game in the world may not be the right game for you tonight. And the right game for you may be something old, familiar, overlooked, or completely outside the current conversation. Your backlog is not a deadline. Your collection isn't a list of unfinished assignments. Your hobby should serve your life, not compete with it. That's what it means to protect your time. It means recognizing when you're engaged and when you're only going through the motions. It means knowing when to continue, when to change your strategy, when to take a break, and when to accept that a game is no longer giving you what you need. Walking away isn't always quitting. Restarting is not always failure. Sometimes the most intentional choice is to pause, reset, or just move on. And when the session ends, take a moment to reflect. Did I enjoy that? Did I learn anything? Did I move forward? Did I connect with someone? Did I leave feeling better than when I started? And what do I want from the next session. That reflection is where gaming becomes more than time spent. It becomes time understood. Because games can teach us patience. They can teach us preparation. They can teach us discipline, creativity, teamwork, resilience, humility, and growth. A boss fight can teach persistence. A fighting game can teach accountability. An RPG can teach the value of preparation. A cooperative game can teach communication. And a loss can teach more than a victory if you are willing to pay attention. That is what playing with intention means. It means knowing why you play. It means choosing what deserves your time, your money, your energy, and your attention. It means finding value in the experience instead of simply chasing completion. And remembering that the goal is not to play everything. The goal is to make the games that you do play matter. So before you press start, ask yourself, why this game? Why tonight? Why would I make this session? What would make the session a win? Right? Then pick up the controller, choose your path, and play with purpose, not just on autopilot. That is playing with intention. And that is the mission of the Gamer Quotient Gaming Academy.
Well said.
Well said, sir. It's kind of funny because like I was playing John Carpenter's Toxic Commando over the weekend,
Mhm.
and I was in the random lobbies, and the game is very objection based, right? But it's a big open map, and it's Left 4 Dead, but it's open world. And all my teammates were not doing the objectives, but you need them to do the objectives. And I was playing with intention to like go through the stages, but they were just chilling, and I was like, maybe I'm in the wrong lobby. So there's definitely a difference between just chilling, hanging out, playing the game, vibing, and then playing with intention. You're like, you have a mission, and so that experience was like definitely what stood out to me the most when I was playing that game. So, with that said, Watchdog, what you got for us, man?
Waiting for
Yeah.
it.
Really.
So there we go. There he is. This week for the Watchdog was tricky. I'd actually sit down and talk to my wife about it because I said, I'm having a little bit of a dilemma here, and she said, "Well, why?" I said, "Well, oftentimes when I do the Watchdog segment, the biggest thing that I do there is I find good deals for people, and I find them good games that are really nice and cheap. And I want to make sure that people are able to maximize their enjoyability for their dollars spent. And I try to just keep my eye out for the little guy, right? I'm like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but for poor people, myself included. Like, oh, catch these deals instead of these buses. Oh, you need to catch this controller at 15% off instead of catching Gwen Stacy and making a terrible mistake. No, that I said, this is kind of the interesting dilemma I have. I said, personally, ethically, I don't want to tell anyone about any digital deals this week because I feel like that's wrong. I'm like, when I first started writing, I was watchdogging before, and this is 16, 17 years ago at this point. And I said, I think I have to remember that my job is to watch out for people and tell them when bad shit is about to happen or is currently happening, and just give them the information to go make a decision for themselves. My job is not to decide for you. My job is to inform you of what's going on. And so I'm not doing any deals this week for the Watchdog. But I am going to say this. The most important place to play your games and to purchase them is where you feel the most comfortable doing so. I can sit here and tell you all day about why I think that saving these games are important, and I can make a ton of great arguments, but if you don't care, I'm not going to be able to convince you otherwise, right? If you care about digital games, great. I'm happy for you. Go enjoy things however you like, but don't complain to me when you don't have access to them later on, right? Like, if that's the path you're going to take, hey, no, I'm dead serious. More fucking power to you. Absolutely. But don't complain later on when you realize that you don't own what you just bought, right? At the same time, people who love physical games, you're going to have to come to, you're going to have to just come to terms with not everything that you're going to want to play will have physical presence, right? There are devs who are so small that they can't afford, literally cannot afford to get that thing released or whatever, or they can't find a publisher, even though it's a well liked and well received game. Some games just don't get widespread physical releases. Just as an example, Enter the Gungeon is one of my favorite games of all time, and getting that a physical copy of that is quite difficult, right? I happen to own it, and it's like a big collector's box, and everything is great. But most people aren't going to be able to just buy that physically. You're going to get it on every damn digital storefront, but not that one. It's just not going to happen. So you need to come to terms with that. And if you're okay with missing game experiences, you're like, oh, I won't buy anything digital. Okay, then you're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. That's fine. Again, more power to you. But don't complain about the decision that you're making. I'd say the best thing that most people can do is kind of hybrid model it, right? If you are okay with spending this money and going, you know what, I might not ever be able to play this again. Think about that before you click that buy button. There's a chance I'm never going to get to play this again at some point in the future. And it's like, what is it just a throwaway experience? Just like Ace is saying, we talk about gaming with intention. And if you don't intend to enjoy that later on, then yeah, sure, go ahead and pay that digital cost. But if you really liked it and you know that you're going to want to come back to that and you think it's a big deal and it makes a difference, go out and buy the thing and support that developer in that way as well. I have multiple copies of some games because I bought them for different reasons. Hey, here's one to play. Here's one to hold on. That's just for my kid. This one is, hey, it might turn into worth something someday, right? So, just as an example, Shin Megami Tensei 5, the amount of copies of that shit I own is staggering and embarrassing. You know why I own? Let's see. So I grabbed it for the Nintendo Switch digitally when it dropped, and then I bought it, just the regular version of it, right when I could finally get my hands on it. And I was really pissed that I couldn't get the Fallen Man Premium Edition, so I had to wait a year for that to come out. So that's a third version for the fucking Switch. I'm 3 versions in. Oh, and then SMT5 Vengeance dropped for the PS5, so I had to buy that too. So I have 4 different versions of SMT5. It's like, why do you own so many? That just seems ridiculous. Oh, because I got fucking burned on SMT3 back in the day, which was one of the rarest games you could get your hands on PS2 because they didn't even print that many of them, right? It used to be Shin Megami Tensei 3 for the PS2. You weren't finding that for less than $200 because they did not know that shit was going to blow up stateside. Later on, they would do a reprint on it, and we were lucky and you could get your hands on it. But, I digress. If you really care, make sure that you have that thing. The final thought that I wanted to give for myself on the Watchdog with this was I think there's an actual solution for Sony that would actually make everyone happy. And it's called go forward and push your business digital as you are. But I know the big boss and all the boys here certainly remember Sony's Greatest Hits program. And for those who weren't familiar with the Greatest Hits program, it was originally set up to recognize the truly great selling games for that generation's hardware. So the Greatest Hits started all the way back on the original PlayStation. In fact, we talked about a box tonight that went, the green label Greatest Hits. Final Fantasy Chronicles was one of them. That became a Greatest Hits title. And basically, it was if you sold X amount of million copies of that game, then Sony would put it into that special category of, no, these are certified. It was actually the certified banger list, right? And of course, the amounts have changed over the hardware generations. But if it goes to Greatest Hits, right, that's kind of a stamp of approval. Even Bloodborne is on that list, just to give you an idea of how recent that program has been. Bloodborne is on that list right alongside things like Twisted Metal or any of that.
Yep.
And my thought process was, Sony could take that greatest hits program and really flip that into a curation list of only physical games. So just hey, throwing it at the wall, seeing how it sticks. Go ahead and go, we're going to release the games digitally, right? Like, this is how you get them. And if enough people turn out, in 6 months' time or whatever, oh, hey, this sold over 1 million copies over here. Oh, clearly there's a demand. We cleared that million. What if we go ahead and do a limited, an actual limited run of this game physically? So the physical junkies like me are going to go, oh, I got to have that, right? We're going to make sure we turn out. Your production costs are down because you're not making a whole bunch of discs that you're not sure are even going to sell. It's already a proven seller. People bought it digitally. Like it's already gone through the gauntlet. It's done the crucible, right? So now you're just opening things up to a wider market. And that people are going to appreciate it, and it's going to have traffic. So long story short, you get to print less but actually generate more, right? And people feel like they can. I mean, let's just put it another way. Not everyone watches a movie the very first weekend that it comes out. Some people don't see a movie until it's been in the theaters for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Some of us don't watch shit until it's been out for 6 months, right? And sometimes we don't even get in until the tail end of something, right? So this just leaves different avenues open, and gives people a sense of appreciation and relief. Like I said, it's a compromise. It's not a catch-all solution. Someone somewhere is mad that I even suggested that shit, but it's like, wait a minute, I wish this thing was physical. It's like, well, go support that fucking developer then. Like, go do it. Go do the thing. That indie guy, that might be his chance to finally get something on a shelf in front of someone just because so many people turned out. All I'm saying is this. If, Vampire Survivors dropped physical with all that damn DLC, I'd buy that shit 4 or 5 times. I sure would. Right? That's just something to think about. Everything in this world doesn't have to be all or nothing. We can do hybrid things. We can have a mixture of things. And I think that your library should be too. If you can get things physical, hey, get your hands on it, right? If you can't, still go and enjoy it however you can enjoy it, right? And at the end of the day, no matter what I say, like, I have my feelings on it, but you have your own feelings on it too. And if you really love your Steam library and you like playing things on PC and you're comfortable with, hey, I might lose access to this in some way, shape, or form if I don't do my own archiving, hey, go forth with fucking gusto. Like, enjoy it and just have fun with it and then leave it behind where it is, right? But, if that is how you enjoy things, go enjoy them, regardless of what anybody else says. But do not presume to think that your opinion speaks for all. And I'm saying that too. My opinion on this is not speaking for anybody or everybody. I'm just going, here's how I see it. Being around the industry for 40 years, this is how I've seen it play out in my life. And this is how I see the situation unfolding. But at the end of the day, the choice is yours. Just think about what you're doing first. And that's what I've got to say about the Watchdog for this week.
Nice. Well said. Well said. Love it.
Booby kids. I don't need that game. I don't need it physical.
Dragon Power. If you
Dragon
find
Power,
a physical copy of Dragon Power, you need to pick it up ASAP.
It's a weird one.
It's got like a bootleg Jackie Chan on the cover, which is super interesting. So
It does.
it is all messed up. All right, guys. Tonight's final boss is titled "The Game Has Changed," because it certainly has, and the industry has changed multiple times, right? But sometimes it's for the better, sometimes it's for the worse. Arguably, who knows where it's going to go now? But a lot of people seem to not like where this is going. So, all right, class, I'm gonna go jump right into it. It is time. I feel like we haven't had one of these in a long time. It is time for the final boss. The gaming industry is our final boss tonight, and it is changing once more. Physical media is disappearing. Digital storefronts are becoming the standard. Subscription services are changing how we access games. Studios are consolidating. Development costs are rising. And the way games are created, sold, preserved, and even owned continues to shift. Now, some players, change is exciting. For others, it feels like something is being taken away. And honestly, both reactions are valid. Oliver just said that, mentioned that here. Change can bring convenience, innovation, and opportunities we've never had before, like Boktai, right? Pretty cool. But it can also leave behind traditions, like passing on your games to your son, communities, and experiences that mattered to all of us. Now, the problem is that change rarely asks whether we are ready. A game does not stop introducing new mechanics because we were comfortable with the old ones. Now, eventually, the enemies get stronger. The map becomes unfamiliar. The strategy that carried us through the first half of the game, it just stops working. We got to adapt. At that point, we have a choice. We can keep repeating the same moves and blame the game when they stop working, just like when I was playing City of the Wolves against Krauser. Or we can adapt. And as gamers, we do that very well. Adapting does not mean blindly accepting every change. It doesn't mean pretending that every new idea is better than what came before. And it does not mean abandoning the things we value. Adapting means understanding what has changed, protecting what still matters, and learning how to move forward without becoming trapped in the past. Now, that applies to the gaming industry, but also it applies to us as gamers. Careers change, relationships change, communities change, our priorities simply change. Now, even the person holding the controller, they change too. The games you loved 10 years ago not affect you the same way today. The way you spend your time may need to evolve. The goals you once chased may no longer fit the person you are turning into. Happened to me a few times. That doesn't mean the old version of you was wrong, though. It means you've gained experience. Talk about leveling up on the show all the time. The strongest players are not always the ones with the fastest reactions or the most powerful equipment. Though it makes it easier, it's not always the case. They are the ones who can read the situation, recognize when the pattern has changed, and adjust before the next attack lands. Change is not always the enemy. Sometimes the real enemy is refusing to move after the world around you already has. So, appreciate what came before. Preserve the games, the memories, and traditions worth protecting. The question the changes that deserve to be questioned. But do not let nostalgia become a cage. You cannot control every direction the industry takes. You can, though, control how informed you remain, what you support, what you preserve, and how intentionally you choose to play. Because adapting does not mean losing who you are. It means carrying the best parts of you who were into whatever comes next. So out there, guys, keep training, keep leveling, because the game has changed. Now adapt and face the final boss. That is your tonight's final boss. So I think that sums it up pretty well as far as the topic of tonight, kind of like the overall arc of our conversation, right? We covered from like preservation to tradition, right? I love it. And even this topic is very volatile, but I feel like we tackled it from a lot of different directions, which is super cool and not very common in a lot of podcasts. So tell your friends. Message.
Shameless self-promotion.
Yep.
Everyone's going, we have our own opinions. Like, there you go. It's like, oh, they're not beating each other up? No. Yeah. Why would I?
Absolutely. You guys have any, before Ace takes us home, any last takes tonight on this whole thing? That we haven't covered yet, that they haven't heard yet?
Well, I gotta ask Sony one question. Mm-hmm. When you've got a game that is so hotly anticipated, that cannot be accessed in over 100 countries. A fighting game that cannot be accessed in over 130 countries. One of them even hosting one of the major fighting game tournaments coming up this year. What the hell are you thinking coming back to social media advertising a fight stick?
They need physical, that's why. That's exactly one of the reasons to get physical, right? So they have the physical game with them. They don't need the service to use it. It's there. It's in the disc. You don't got to go online, right? But man, it's just one of those things, Ace. I saw that post, and this is my take on that. They just suck. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Honestly, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're not talking to each other. It's like, they're just clocking in and then letting their brains go, okay, this is what I'm going to do today. I have no clue what's happening, right? So it is wild. It is wild. There's reasons for it, by the way. I looked up the reasons of why they don't have it, and the reasons are legit. And here's the thing: if they do not find it viable for them to put a PSN server on these certain locations, one, they're missing out on that audience. That's their fault. They don't want to make the investment, right? But that's still a choice they made. Like, that's absolutely their choice to do that. And if they're gonna miss out on the audience, that's on them. Absolutely.
So what I've got here is Kojima's take, right? The take we don't have, but you just get it straight from the horse's mouth. So once again, this man who can somehow manage to see into the fucking future in ways that we could not anticipate, right? 2001. What the hell is this man talking about? Jump forward, 15 years. We're like, holy shit, this guy, he fucking nailed it. Like, wow, you were like 97% correct on this one. Holy
the man wrote Snatcher, right?
Right? Like, he's just, I don't know. The man literally lives 25 years ahead of schedule, right? Which means nanomachines or anytime. Like, at this point, anytime. Here's what he said in 2021, though. He said, eventually, even digital data will no longer be owned by individuals on their own initiative. Whenever there is a major change or accident in the world, in a country, in a government, in an idea, in a trend, access to it may suddenly be cut off. We will not be able to freely access the movies, books, and music that we have loved. I would be a have-not. That's what I'm afraid of. This is not greed. He said that in 21, and then he has spoken on it just even 2-3 days ago. He has heard about all this. Let me see. Just the article I'm looking at says here. He said the situation is different for games as they are downloaded to the hard drive. That means the game data remains on your own hardware. However, if things shift to streaming in the future, that won't be the case anymore. With streaming subscription services like Netflix or Amazon, there's a server somewhere, and you essentially just have the right to turn the tap. And when you do, the data flows out. That is a really goofy way to say that, but yes. It's weird. It's an oversimplification, but yes. He said that's how movies work on these platforms, right? You don't download the data, you access it directly through a subscription. And the consequence of that is that you don't actually possess the data yourself.
Access.
He just straight up kind of nailed it there. There are companies that own these servers and let you turn the tap for a monthly fee. However, with nations, politics, and various ways of thinking, one naturally has to consider the possibility that if there is a change, the data inside will stop being distributed. And if that happens, you won't be able to watch or play the movies and games you like. That is what is frightening. So what is happening to video games in 2028 might also happen to movies. I'd like everyone to keep that in mind. It's a really clean take on it. It's just straightforward. It's dispassionate. He's just telling you, hey, this is how this works.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like he knows his industry. That's simply put.
Who knew, right?
Yeah.
Who knew? What a mind-blowing concept. He understands, like, wait a minute. You could just end up not with this. And as I already said earlier, he has incorporated the real world into his game design multiple times over. So him having those kinds of concerns is absolutely valid. And it's just, everyone just kind of needs to slow down and reconsider what is happening around them. It is really what he's talking about. He's same thing. He didn't say don't have digital things, right? It's great. It's quick. It is convenient, but also be thinking about the other end of that spectrum too.
Yeah.
And for the love of God, I'm really seriously. This is the one thing that does make me mad. This situation with PlayStation and Xbox, it's complicated. It is complicated. What pisses me off is that I got to be sitting around getting yelled at about my fucking carbon footprint. Meanwhile, Rockstar is over here printing boxes for no reason. Right now, who remembers back with the damn 360 and having that flimsy ass case because they cut out that big ass recycling logo chunk out of all the cases in order to literally
Cut costs,
uh
yeah.
yeah, to literally cut down on materials because environmentalists were climbing up their ass. Like that was the thing for people. Like what? Yeah, that was the thing, and they were like, "No, we're gonna get this carbon print, carbon footprint down, and all this other stuff." And they're doing all that. So I'm sitting there, kind of looking at this. I'm going, "Well, at least with that, there was something inside a thing that had a thing on it, right? There was a disc with data that I wanted on there. Now you're just printing nonsense." My final thought on that is that people can't seem to understand why I have such big problems with Valve and with Steam. And it's because that was a prototype of where we're heading, right? That's what's about to happen. And oddly enough, I think that Valve is going to be the lesser of two evils here, right? But this problem for me, I noticed that this issue was coming around the mountain 16 years ago with the release of Fallout New Vegas. I actually broke out. I was like, people are like, you hate PC. I'm like, no, I don't like playing PC first. But if I don't have a choice, I'm going to go there. Come on, Dead as Disco. But I broke out my box of PC games that I still own. I own the disc with that data on it, right? And I pulled out the copy of Fallout New Vegas. Would you like to know what is on that fucking disc? The PC DVD case, all that, instruction book? But do you know what's actually on that disc?
The installer.
Just a fucking installer for Steam.
Oof.
Not even for the game itself.
It's just Steam?
For Steam.
Rough.
It is just a Steam installer on the Fallout New Vegas disc. So the data has already been fucking lost. Like, I don't even know why I still have it because it's nothing. It's worthless, right? Even the installer is worth nothing because we're many iterations of Steam down the line at this point.
Yeah.
So even that shit is fucking worthless. But I'm going, no one like really has this on PC. You can't be like, oh yeah, I got a copy of that for PC. No, you fucking don't. Valve has a copy of that for the PC. Like, what was the point? Is what I'm saying. What was the point of even bothering to print that if all you were going to do was send someone to the internet to get it in the exact same way? What was the point? All you did was waste materials and waste time. You added one completely unnecessary step to this. You should have just said, "Oh, we're only doing digital distribution only," and left it at that. We're headed down that ugly road where access points, that's all you're paying for. You're paying to get through an access point as opposed to, oh, this is a thing that you can have and take home with you and all that good shit, right? All I'm saying is this: the costs aren't going to go down at all. They're going to go up. When was the last time you rented a movie on, say, Amazon, for example? Oh, you can rent this for one day for $25. I'm like, $25 fucking. Like, man, Blockbuster looking better every day. What do you? I could go in there and get 2, 3 movies and some popcorn for like $8. Like, what are you lunatics doing? And you still don't own it. That's just to watch it. Right? One time. Oh, you can watch it as much as you want within 24 hours. I'm like, oh, thank you for being so generous. Blockbuster gave me this shit for a week. Things will get more expensive, not less, just because they know that you're willing to pay it. So just do everything you're doing with your games, your collections, your movies, your books, any of that shit. Do everything as deliberate as you can and as intentionally as you can. Whatever the consequences are, they will be yours to pay or not pay, as it were, but be mindful about what you're doing and how that's going to affect you. I'm not even talking about everybody else. just yourself, just look at it and go, huh, will I want to revisit this at some point in my life with new eyes? Because, brother, we do it all the time. We do it all the time. I mean, retro channels exist on Twitch for a reason. People like looking at people play old things.
Like
And
the
they
backlog.
also like the backlog. And they also like watching Ace stumble around like a fucking moron throughout Transylvania, not knowing
Oh boy,
it's
if you,
Simon's
thought,
Quest.
if you thought that was bad, wait till you see what we got cooking this month.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
It's gonna be fun. But yeah, that's really the Jima's thought and my shared thought on it. Like, this is an ugly one, and Rockstar has lost their damn mind.
Yep.
Give me more money to give you less.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? Isn't that the question? Why would I do that? Explain to me why I should. Nobody knows.
Scary
Scary
time we're
stuff.
in. Ace, cradle us into peace.
Yeah, take us home, baby.
All right, everybody. On the bus. Get on the bus. Controllers down. Digital libraries checked. And someone please make sure the license agreement didn't update while we were talking.
Oh,
It did.
God.
You know it did.
yeah. They edited it while we were talking. 100%.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. But tonight, Class 80, the game has changed. Forced us to look at a future that may already be closer than we think. Sony's move toward digital-only games isn't happening in isolation. Xbox started laying the foundation for this kind of ecosystem years ago, where the console was no longer the entire brand, where Game Pass became the center, and where access across devices mattered more than the box under the television. And now, the rest of the industry seems to be moving in the same direction. On paper, the benefits are easy to see. Instant access, no damaged discs, no shelf space taken up, one library connected to your account, games available across more devices. It all sounds convenient. But convenience always has a cost. The bill always comes due. When games become licenses instead of objects, the player gives up some control. You can't resell a license. You can't lend your account the same way you lend a disc. You cannot guarantee that a storefront, server, subscription, or platform will always be there. And you may not fully control what happens to the games you paid for. That is why tonight's conversation matters. This isn't about saying digital is bad, physical is good. It's about understanding the trade before we accept it. Because playing with intention is not only about what game you choose to play, it's about how you choose to buy it, how you choose to acquire it in the first place. How much control are you comfortable giving up? What does ownership mean to you? Is convenience worth the sacrifice? And what should the industry owe the player when the product they purchased only exists through continued access? The game has changed, but players still deserve a seat at the cabinet. We should ask for transparency. No, demand it. We should demand preservation. We should demand fair pricing. We should demand offline access. And we should not let convenience stop us from asking who really owns the game after we make the purchase. Think on that. Take that with you into the next week. This has been Gamer Quotient Gaming Academy, Class 80. The game has changed. I'm Blazing Ace Nelson, speaking on behalf of the rest of the faculty, our Dean of Students, and our Headmaster, of course, reminding you, please, don't just read the store page. Check the terms of service. Don't just download the game. Understand what you actually bought. And don't let the industry delete your player agency along with the disk drive. Stay informed, protect your library, and always play with intention. Class dismissed.
Mission complete!